If you've ever been prepared to literally fight a homeowners association, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Thursday, June 26th edition as we reach the penultimate day of the week here ahead of the 4th of July truncated week next week. We do have some stuff going on here. We had Micron that had big earnings yesterday. The price action on Micron, a little weird. We're going to look at that. We're going to talk about the earnings. We're going to break that down. We're going to go through some of the news, and we're going to find some stuff to trade here, folks. Hope that you all had a great night yesterday. Great to have you back here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Thursday, June 26th starts right now. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces back here. I hope that you all had a wonderful Wednesday evening and rest of the day on Wednesday. It seemed kind of boring yesterday market-wise, but it's great to have a whole bunch of folks back here today. I'll go ahead and start. Mama Bear, good morning. Welcome back, Mama Bear. Paul, good morning. Great to see you again. How was the futures trading last night? Good, bad, mediocre? You let me know. Mama Bear says, smoked tuna. What are you looking at today? I don't think smoked tuna is here yet, but I'll say this, folks. NDRA, SRFM, ULY, GCTK are the top 4 stocks on the tuna AI signal. So we'll check in on those. And then when he shows up today, we'll ask him how well we did. Mama Bear, that's what I've got for you here so far. Good morning. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good to see you again, man. Welcome back. Couch Potato, welcome back. A Big Bear Hug, a very good morning indeed. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, thanks for checking in. Good morning. Jonathan, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Yep, we are ready. We are ready to bank. We're going to do some more of that here today. Chuck, good morning. Bernhard, welcome back. The producer, locked in. Stay cool, my man. Day Trader, good morning. Let's go. EKS, good morning, Benzinga. GDP quarter over quarter final today. We will be ready for that. That GDP data comes at 8:30 this morning, along with the durable goods data and the initial jobless claims. So we'll go ahead and bring that to you as soon as it comes here, and we'll see how the market takes it. EKS, good to have you back here. Sean, good morning. It's great to see you again. Moo Ni. I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce that, so I'm just going to say Moo. Good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Azrar, good morning. Sun-kissed Yogi, good morning. Ed, it's party time. Indeed it is. Good morning. Welcome back. Graf, good morning. Yvonne, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Coinbase should have some big moves today on news. Let me go ahead and add coin to the list, brother. We will absolutely take a look at that. I actually do enjoy trading Coinbase too. I've really been stuck on seasonality stuff, and I don't have any great feel for Coinbase, but we'll talk about that some other time. Durkus, welcome. Good morning. It's good to see you again. Torloff, good morning. Greater, good morning. Cold pizza and stocks. Yo, maybe an unpopular opinion, but actually cold pizza, not terrible. Pretty good. And is there really anything other than that cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast? I don't think so. Enjoy your cold pizza. Kerching. That's how we're going to start this morning. We're going to do a lot of kerchinging here today. Welcome back. Jose, welcome back. C-Dub, good morning, brother. Welcome back. White Chocolate Mocha is back. Good morning. Diamond Hotline, good morning. Rooster, good morning. How about NVIDIA new all-time high? Let me add NVIDIA to the list here. Indeed. And we're going to talk a little bit about data centers and stuff like that. Actually, I think the Micron print last night was really good for NVIDIA. Rooster, how about that? Indeed. Sassy Butterfly Chick, good morning. Welcome back. Billy, good morning. Yasso Fine, good morning. We are going to make some money. VK, good morning. Lori, welcome back. John, sorry, man. Welcome back. Good morning. Yassine, welcome back. Okay, PayPal, seasonally, 628 happy hour convo, wanted to look at it. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. PayPal is added to the list. We will absolutely do that. Big Milkshake Trading, Good morning. Welcome back. Barry the Goat. He's locked in. Let's go. Good morning, Quantum. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, ATL Russ. Good morning, ATL Russ. Braves looks like they're really starting to get hot here. Let me know if I'm missing something. I tell you what, Acuna, that guy is something else. Something else. Javon, good morning. Twilio mentioned from VK here. We haven't looked at Twilio in a long time. Let me add that to the list too. I don't have an answer to your question on whether or not it's ready to run, but we're going to take a look at it. Really good stuff. ASTS hitting a top. Philip is asking. Let me add ASTS to the list too. ASTS, we did get the 50 prints that we wanted. Space theme seems hot. I think that could actually trade a little bit higher, but we got what we were looking for. We'll go ahead and look at that as well. We love those Braves games, and the stadium is so fun. So my buddy from Michigan is actually going down there to see family and said he's going to a Braves game. I told him I've never been to that stadium, but I've heard it's absolutely amazing. I'm hoping to get some pictures. Seems that you have affirmed that. Okay, really good stuff. Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at what's going on here. Boy, I got to get my thing fixed up there. There we go. Anik, good morning. And yes, C-Dub, the Braves are publicly traded. And Brian, good morning, with starting a Let's Go Mets chant when we're talking about the Braves. Watch out now. we might have some fighting going on here. Okay. Michael saying, when will healthcare finally turn? That's a good question. And some of those stocks actually might make some pretty good trades when it does turn. You know what? Let me add UNH to the list here because that actually could make a pretty good trade if it does turn around. Okay. Producer. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look here at the SPY. We continue to what actually kind of almost feels like a melt up. Maybe it's not a melt because we're not really moving quickly to the upside, but it does seem like there continues to be upside pressure here. I gotta say, just by looking at the chart and kind of having a feel for what the market is doing here, it sure seems to me that the next stop here for SPY is going to be 613.23, which is your all-time high. Now, I can make the case both ways that we get up there and we actually break above that, or we get up there and we find resistance and really kind of create a nasty looking double top. Furthermore, if we actually go to the monthly chart, you would see that this double top, this would definitely look like a bearish formation. Also worth noting on this monthly chart that you have one of the craziest reversal candles I've seen in some time on the SPY here, but nonetheless. So I do think that the next test here is the all-time high. Really, the only question I have is, do we break through that, maybe go on a blue sky breakout run as we print new all-time highs, or does something happen here that really just kind of sets us back and then creates that double top? So I can see either scenario happening. So really, it comes down to trying to figure out which one of these we want to trade as we get closer and closer to that. As a reminder, one of the big things that we're looking at here now that we're past Tuesday of this week, there does seem to be some really favorable seasonality setting up not only for the market, but for a lot of individual names. In fact, told you we took the Home Depot trade on the technical setup, layering nicely with the positive seasonality here. It's worth noting that Lowe's has the same type of thing, but I chose only to play Home Depot for risk management purposes. The market also in July should be pretty good. We actually had a little bit of an extended talk about some of the seasonality yesterday. I just wanted to bring some of those stats to you here today. July is, generally speaking, the second best month for upside activity. They have a highest percent of positive trades in this seasonality metric, but the amplitude of the move is not as great. Conversely, November has the second highest winning rate, but the highest amplitude or percentage of winning trades. So July second only to November in terms of positive seasonality, but that seasonality doesn't necessarily produce large outsized moves. So what that means is that if we do hook some of these, especially early on, if we hook any of these trades that are on the back of seasonality here, I think it's okay to want to take gains early as opposed to sitting in there for that big move. what I'm going to do in my Home Depot trade here is I'm actually going to scale out of these contracts as the stock continues to move up. In fact, if we really pop here today, we'll probably start that scaling process here today. But that's what's going on with the SPY here. Keep in mind, July 1st is kind of that day where the real positive seasonality starts. And again, we'll see if we get that here. One of the other things that's going on, and this is a wild card because I don't know if any of this is going to happen for sure. There is talk by the administration that trade deals are trying to come out together, right? It looks like they're not just trying to say, oh, we've got deal with this here. They're trying to release all of that stuff together. Remember, they had a self-imposed deadline of July 4th. So we'll see if this coincides with any of that and maybe gives us a move to the upside, or maybe there's disappointment on that. Maybe the market kind of sells the news on that, and then we create this little double top or double top-ish formation. Nonetheless, we will see how that shakes out. Now, we do have plenty of stocks and charts to look at today. I'm seeing APLD. Good morning, Wendy. Good morning, Wiss. Great to see you. Let's go ahead and add APLD in here. That's actually been a great trade for our community here. We'll go ahead and take a look at that when we get to ticker time. But let's also cover some of the news. Sorry, I got a bunch of tabs open here. I'm just trying to make sure I find the right one. U.S. stocks likely to open higher despite Powell's tariff-induced inflation warning. Walgreens and Nike are in focus ahead. We will take a look at the morning report here. Nike's earnings are going to be the big ones. I think Walgreens, didn't they report this morning, ticker WGA? They did. And they're actually higher here this morning, but marginal. During his testimony to Congress, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled slower growth and hotter inflation after the central bank left interest rates unchanged. President Trump, who has been pushing the Fed to cut rates, said that he could announce Powell's successor by September, whose term ends later in May. So Trump naming a Fed chair in September is basically just a poke at Powell. It doesn't make him leave. It just kind of undermines him. I don't know if this is going to be effective. This just seems like kind of barbs being exchanged here. Nonetheless, I don't think that's going to have any material impact on the interest rates. I think Powell's going to do that himself, or the Federal Reserve Board is going to do that themselves. I don't think Trump doing any of this is actually going to have any effect, to be clear. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.28. The 2-year bond was 3.76. Both of those prints are really good. We've really kind of come in on both of those on the yield curve there. That's really good to see. Shout out to anybody that was trading AMD recently. There's a mention here. Advanced Micro Devices spearheaded chip maker gains, increasing 3.6% and reaching its highest level since early December. Shout out to this entire group. There's been a number of you folks that have asked about AMD. If you've been talking about buying AMD, is this a good trade? Maybe this catches up to NVIDIA. All of that seems like pretty good reason. AMD has really actually been performing pretty well. Got an interesting spot there on the chart on AMD. So we'll see if we get some more with that. Shout out to the group, though, because there's been a lot of talk about that. Liz Ann Saunders, chief investment strategist at Schwab, said that the Middle East remains unstable. Water is wet in other news, but maybe not as unstable as it looked a few days ago. So the market shook off the fear and rose. Quote, there was a spike in oil concerns over the weekend and what futures signaled Sunday night, but things aren't as bad as expected. And we're not seeing escalation. So the markets rallied. Remember, Ed Yardini, I believe his quote, I'm going from memory, but I believe Ed Yardini's quote from yesterday was, as long as as long as the ceasefire holds, markets can go higher. And indeed, that's what we're seeing here. Liz Ann Saunders saying the same thing. Talking about international equities, Brock Weimer, an investment strategist at Edward Jones, said that, quote, we believe the more compelling opportunity lies in U.S. equities over the next 1 to 3 years. As part of our opportunistic asset allocation guidance, we recommend a slight underweight to international developed equities in favor of U.S. stocks. Okay, U.S. seeming to be the strong place to invest again, at least according to Brock here. Meanwhile, Louis Navellier commented on Powell's Congress testimony and said, quote, so despite the fact that 3 other Fed members are now signaling a July key interest rate cut, Chairman Powell remains a hawk and continues to ignore favorable inflation data as well as lower treasury yields. The Fed has been anticipating an inflation boogeyman that has not materialized. The Fed's not the only one that's been doing that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Central banks around the world continue to cut key interest rates. Deflation is becoming increasingly common around the world, especially in China. End quote. Talking about the U.S. dollar, he said he expects the U.S. dollar to firm up due to three things: higher interest rates compared to the rest of the world, stronger economic growth, and military might. A strong U.S. dollar is also naturally deflationary since commodities are priced in U.S. dollars. So again, we'll see where we go here. We're really kind of shaping up for this next CPI print to be extremely, I guess I would throw the PPI in there too, right? The CPI and the PPI print to be extremely impressive. When going through Powell's answers in his congressional testimony, I was just going over some of the, I was just kind of reading some of the things that he had said because I wasn't able to watch the whole thing. Someone had asked him a question about, what data would he need to see? And he basically went on to see that he would need to see positive inflation data, positive meaning positive for us inflation data, not inflation going up, but inflation being under control for June, July, and August. That was interesting because if you take that literally, it sure seems that the first cut that Powell himself is thinking about is actually in that September meeting. But we have multiple Fed members saying July, kind of got this back and forth. I don't know how this is going to shake out personally. I do think that the no rate cuts in 2025, barring some type of disaster, I don't think that, I should say this more clearly. I do think that we will be getting at least one interest rate cut in 2025. I do think that. I don't know how many we're going to get. I do think we're going to get that. A full disclosure, one of my positions is a rocket, ticker RKT, long calls. So I'm personally rooting for an interest rate cut. It's in my best interest based on my position. But I do believe that. I do believe that wholeheartedly. And until the data changes, I'm going to stay with that. So, okay. That's pretty much the market summary that I wanted to go over there. I do want to talk about Micron next. Maybe let's start with the chart here and kind of break up some of the news here. Here's Micron. We talked about this yesterday in happy hour, and I'll tell you what, we were actually watching the price action when the report came out. Soon as the report came out, this thing screamed higher. In fact, if we look inside, look at this. Soon as that report came out, this thing traded up 10 points, 10 full points, stopped right on the head at 137. Now, it came back here a little bit, and then when the conference call started, it really kind of almost came all the way back to balance. Now, this morning, we are holding higher here by about 2.3%. The report was good. So maybe there was just a little overzealousness on the initial print, but I would challenge you folks. Did anyone that went through the Micron report, did you find anything in there that's concerning to you? You let me know. Rail, good morning. Billy, good morning. New advert, good morning. Do I see NVIDIA going to, you know what? We're going to talk about NVIDIA. Save that new advert. We're going to talk about that. Okay. And day trader still talking about the taco, man. When are you going to give it up? When are you going to give it up? That's clearly not what's taking place. Anyway, as far as Micron goes here, let's actually talk about the report here. Micron Q3 earnings, revenue, EPS beat estimates as data center revenue more than doubles. This to me is the big thing here, right? The key takeaway from this report is that, data centers, they're not going anywhere. They are not going anywhere. There is no data center slowdown. There's no sign of that, at least not from these Micron earnings. Anyway, Q3 earnings, Micron reported third quarter revenue of $9.3 billion. This beat the consensus estimate of $8.87 billion. The company reported third quarter adjusted earnings of $1.91 per share, beating the analyst estimates of $1.6 per share. That was a pretty big beat there. Total revenue up 16% on a year-over-year basis. Operating cash flow came in at $4.61 billion versus $3.9. They're cash flowing even better than anticipated or than estimated. And also in the prior and comparable quarters from last year, company generated $1.95 billion in adjusted free cash flow in the third quarter. Quote, Micron delivered record revenue in fiscal third quarter, driven by all-time high DRAM revenue, including nearly 50% sequential growth in HBM revenue. Data center revenue more than doubled year over year and reached a quarterly record, and consumer-oriented end markets had strong sequential growth. This comes from the CEO, Sanjay, Mehrotra. I think I'm pronouncing Mehrotra, I believe is how that's pronounced correctly. Nonetheless, Micron ended the period with $12.22 billion in cash, marketable investment, and restricted cash. Micron's board declared a quarterly dividend of 11.5 cents per share payable on July 22nd to holders of record on July 7th. Micron expects fourth quarter revenue of $10.7 billion plus or minus $300 million versus the estimate of $9.8 billion. Big guide higher there by almost a full $1 billion. And in fact, with the margin of error, it is indeed a full $1 billion. The company anticipates fourth quarter adjusted earnings of $2.50 per share, plus or minus 15 cents versus the $2.01 per share estimate. Quote, we are on track to deliver record revenue with solid profitability and free cash flow in fiscal 2025, while we make disciplined investments to build on our technology leadership and manufacturing excellence to satisfy growing AI-driven memory demand. So again, data center, AI, huge theme here for Micron. They're absolutely killing it based on their report here. So here's my follow-up question for you folks. Let's go back to the Micron chart here. My first question still remains, was there something in the report that has you nervous, that has you maybe taking a step back from this, or that, you know, maybe you would consider just a straight up negative here? Otherwise, what are we doing here to trade? The reason that I'm asking this, the reason that it's not so obvious is because we absolutely have a interesting situation here. Sure, there's tons of momentum. It's great that we've now had this report. We're trading up here. Look at the RSI. RSI is totally overcooked here. 83.1 Williams percentile, also at the high end of the range. And don't forget, like let's actually measure this. Here is the Liberation Day low, about $62 to where we are here today. This stock since April 7th is up 110%. So the company's executing, the company's putting up really good numbers. All of that stuff is great, but this company has made a huge move. We made a move off the bottom. We consolidated around the 200-day for about a week and a half, and then we screamed higher, and this is where we find ourselves now. So my question here is, on the back of this really good report, we find ourselves here at a previous resistance level that goes all the way back to 2004. It then actually turned into support in middle of 2024. And then we ended up losing that. This should be resistance right up here at 130. So what's the play here on Micron, right? Do we go long here and maybe chase some of this performance, chase what some of the good numbers that came out of the earnings report? Maybe we're expecting a move up to that initial impulse spot of 137. Like, we came all the way back in. We're gapping up a little bit. Seems like all good news. No one is yet to show me anything bad about this report. Maybe we do trade back up there. Maybe there's a trade not only for today or maybe even a multi-day swing here. Conversely, we're right at a resistance area and we're totally overbought. So do people sell the news here? Do they sell that good earnings report, book some of the gains? How many people bought this around Liberation Day? You let me know. Micron, I think, is going to be an interesting one here today. I hope we can discern some things from the actual unusual option activity. We'll see here, but an interesting spot here on Micron. They're absolutely killing it. And then this also dovetails nicely for the rest of the data center. Now, let me go over to the NVIDIA stock here too, because it is in fact related. Now, we do have some work to do here on NVIDIA. Remember, we had a potential long-term, maybe long-term is not the right word, but we had this potential head and shoulders that we were trading up to. I'll be honest with you now, given the movement that we've had recently here on NVIDIA, I feel completely comfortable invalidating this chart pattern. So it's wonderful that we were looking for a potential short here based on this chart pattern. Look, we didn't get it. I don't think NVIDIA is going to make a head and shoulders pattern here, given some of the performance recently. Stock is actually up another 1.6% here today. So it sure looks like it's going to try and trade higher here. We did set new, fresh, all-time highs. How about that on NVIDIA here? So we can invalidate that. Now, NVIDIA is very, very similar here, right? We're still overbought on RSI. We're still overbought on Williams percent hour. And again, we've made a substantial move here from the Liberation Day low. So again, going back to April 7th here, this was a clean bounce off the 500. If we come back up to where we're at now, we are up almost 82% from just the beginning of April in NVIDIA. One of the biggest stocks in the entire market. So really good performance. I guess the big question here, like the $64,000 question, do we keep moving higher here in some of these tech AI names, or do we maybe cool off? Do we consolidate? Does anyone think we consolidate up here? Let me know. I'm curious. I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking here on NVIDIA. Let's see. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes till we get the GDP and the jobless claims. Awesome. Did you know that NVIDIA has graphics card in the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2? Keep up the good work, Jensen. I did not know that. I guess hearing that, I'm entirely unsurprised about that. The big part about that, the reason that maybe I'm just kind of meh or aloof about that in general, is because the graphics card business is really not what's driving them, right? It is clearly the AI business that's really making the price do what it does. And the Micron report shows that there's probably no slowdown there. Producer here, NVIDIA's next multi-million-dollar opportunity. Jensen Huang sees great potential here. Quote, stopped thinking of ourselves as a chip company long ago, end quote. And the AI craze, the AI theme, that was exactly what they needed. Good morning, Lion. Chenier and Lion talking about AMD as well as MC Midnight Hammer. Oh, what a great YouTube handle, dude. What a great YouTube handle. Let's actually take a look at AMD because we're talking about these earnings and how this might play in here. We did mention AMD a little bit earlier when I was giving the rundown. So let's start with this. Lion Atlas. AMD has more room to run. Okay, so this is why that's important. Again, just like we were discussing here on Micron and NVIDIA, AMD also appears extremely overbought. We have 80 on the RSI. We have the Williams percent R at the high end of the range. And we have AMD doing something very similar here on that Liberation Day low. Again, April, here we go. I eyeballed it, so sorry if I didn't get it exact. AMD up 92%. 92%. So do we take a break here? You're talking, Lion, you're talking here about more room to run. Just kind of looking at the chart here, I see a pretty significant consolidation area in here. Probably have 161 to 167 is probably the next target. What do you have as another target here? Let me know. And not just you, Lion, anyone else that's looking at tech, AI, or interested in any of this. In fact, producer, maybe we should think of a poll that has to do with this. Maybe we should make it a little bit more general instead of specific to AMD. Let me think about that here for a sec. But where do we go here on AMD? Looking at the volume shelf here, 168. This matches up pretty nicely with the former resistance area. That kind of seems legit. Let me know where you think this goes here. Honestly, what I would rather have happen on some of these names, in particular AMD, I would actually love for this to do kind of what it did here after it took out the 200. Notice that when we were trading up to the 200, we tested it, we pulled back to the 20-day. Okay, we found some support there. And then the next test, we blew through that 200. We just went right through it, closed above it. And then we had this kind of, I almost want to call this consolidation. I know we drifted a little bit higher here, but the reality of how these days played out is we traded higher and then we came back in and held and didn't break down. And to me, that seems like, okay, maybe there's not over exuberance here, but they're not going to let the stock go down. We saw that here for 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions. And then bang, now we've gone through the 500. We've got, We got good news here in the sector and all of that. So what I would like the most, frankly, and let's assign some numbers to it, I would love if AMD pulled back to 135. If AMD pulled back to 135 and we got the same type of action we did in here at 126 where the stock appeared to hold a little bit, then I think we're really kind of setting up for another move higher. That puts that 168 spot that we just talked about in play, 175, you might even say, and then 187, and then the all-time high there at 200 plus. So I would love for the next move here to be a cooling off here. Lion, let me see if you guys gave any answers on that. AMD is going back to 180, Ryan. Okay, so 180 is going to be that target. Lion, I'll be honest with you, I can absolutely see this number. 100. The spot here on the chart looks good. I don't know if we're going to go straight there. Frankly, if it does, I would love for this to pull back. Pull back a little bit first to a support area and then make that move to 180, Lion. I think that would be a lot easier to trade. I really do. Big of B's, AMD target should be at 180. So we're in good company there. Yes, sir, Big of B's. We are in good company there. Here we go. Chenier, love it. I have 2 August 15 calls for 180. Okay, so let me look back here at the, let me actually get my option chain up here. So you have 50 days for this move to happen. 50 days. Chenier, I would say that if we got a pullback, it might be tough to actually reach 180 in that time, but we'll see. I don't want to poo-poo that. I love the target. And that's the other thing. And I forgot to mention this. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. Don't forget, we also had the power of Kathy behind this thing. Remember, she sold Circle at a massive gain and then rolled that money into some other names, AMD being one of them. That's a really good mention there, Chenier. Really, really good mention. Okay. Is it worth owning NVIDIA and AMD or pick one? I would turn this over to the group here. What do you folks think here about? I think this is a great question. Personally, I think if you're playing the AI data center angle for this, I think it probably makes sense to have both, right? You're going to have exposure to 2 of these companies that compete with each other. Any net gain should result in a net gain in those positions. The other thing that's interesting about this is that we've highlighted this on this show a number of times. There's a potential catch-up move here for AMD to NVIDIA based on the graphics card business. How does that actually translate to the price that we see here? Because it's not necessarily on the AI theme there. We're talking about retail consumer graphics cards being put into regular machines, not AI or Bitcoin mining or anything like that. There's another catalyst there for AMD. I almost kind of think that it would be nice owning both of these and then just take gains on them as you can. MC Midnight Hammer, the answer is yes. Day Trader thinks NVIDIA makes a better one. Chenier says both. Okay, market data. So, okay, thank you, Jonathan. It does look like S&P futures here are ticking down. Here is your market data. Let me make it easier for you to see. U.S. GDP quarter over quarter for Q1 minus 0.5. That's versus the minus 0.2 estimate. We've all expected GDP to contract here a little bit. That's what we're seeing. Looks like it's contracting a little bit faster here. Market is responding to that. USA PCE prices for Q1 3.7% versus the 3.6% estimate. That print coming in a little bit hot there, but basically in line. U.S. durable goods order month over month for May, 16.4% versus the 8.6% estimate. Oof, big move up there. U.S. initial jobless claims, 236,000 versus the 244,000 estimate. So a little bit lighter there, but still pretty much in line. And the trade balance for May, minus 96.59 billion versus the minus 86 billion estimate. So, okay, that data is out. S&P futures here holding higher by 0.3, although they are ticking down a little bit off the highs. It looks like it made a high here of 61.70 on the futures. We're currently sitting at 61.64. There we go. Okay. There you go on all of that. Let's go back to I think the chart here. AMD. I think we just finished up talking about the chart. Let's go back into some of the news that we have here. We just talked about Micron. All right, let's also talk about, this is kind of related. Let's also talk a little bit about Microsoft. Microsoft is, quote, playing chess and others are playing checkers, end quote. That's an awesome Dan Ives comment right there. Dan Ives says Microsoft Cloud could be a $5 trillion company in 18 months. Tech bull Dan Ives has predicted that Microsoft is on the path to becoming a $5 trillion company in the next 18 months after he raised the stock's price target to $600. After bumping the price target on Microsoft, citing a, quote, massive adoption wave, end quote, of artificial intelligence-driven Azure services, Dan Ives told CNBC he expects Microsoft to become a $5 trillion company over the next 18 months. Quote, we are trying to understand the trajectory of the AI stack commercial cloud, which is trending anywhere from 5 to 7% ahead of expectations. And I think the most important thing is this could be an incremental $25 billion that the street is not factoring into next year's number. Okay, well, that would be pretty good. Then, Ryan here. Ryan, I sold an 80 put expiring September for $2,000. That was on AMD, wasn't it? That was a nice trade. In fact, you're going to get a register ring for that one. Or was that on Marvel? Oh, sorry, that was on Marvel, MRVL. You know, should I add that to the list here just to make sure we've got enough stocks to take a look at? I will do that. Congrats on the trade nonetheless, though. You didn't have to pay that one back. Okay. Adding this, that's why I believe not just 4 trillion potentially, but we're also looking at a 5 trillion in market cap in the next 18 months. He also hailed Microsoft's chairman and CEO Satya Nadella, saying that, quote, if you look at what Nadella is doing, Nadella understands the cloud side better than any of its competitors, end quote. I think what's happened now as we go into the software phase of AI is that's where Nadella and Redmond are playing chess and others are just playing checkers. I've said that this price target bump to 600 was conservative as the timeline was just 18 months. I've explained that for every $100 that the Microsoft customer spends, there's an incremental $50 of AI spend on the table. Quote, so essentially what you're creating is almost another sort of mini Microsoft within Redmond. And I think no one understands what's happening better than Jensen Huang of NVIDIA. So there you go. Dan Ives bullish on the whole thing. Ain't nobody surprised about that. Let's see if we those are just some of the rankings there. Okay. Next here, this is also something that we've kind of talked about. Not really sure what the best trade setup is here, so I'd love to take ideas from the group on this. But Amazon CEO Andy Jassy warns of an AI-driven workforce reduction. Somewhere Joe Rogan is freaking out because he's thinking the same thing. Quote, Amazon won't keep everyone. That was a quote. I beg your pardon. Amazon, quote, won't keep everyone, end quote, says the ex-VP Ethan Evans in a warning to employees. Evans wrote on X on Wednesday that Jassy is delivering, quote, a real simple truth, end quote, to give current Amazon employees time to prepare for job competition driven by AI efficiency gains. Quote, Amazon, even with new projects, does not expect to keep everyone, end quote. Evans stated that, adding that the company will retain the most productive, most valuable people. There have been a number of folks in this show and the happy hour and just part of the Benzinga community who have really been pounding the table that jobs are mostly going to shift. And those that lose their jobs, those that have a job one day and then don't have a job another day, are going to be the ones that do not adapt. The moving to AI or the using AI is going to require a whole bunch of other people that need to understand how to prompt AI, work with AI, and manipulate AI. And those that don't make that transition, it's going to be tough for them. The former VP who worked with Jassy characterized the CEO's Tuesday blog as firing the starting gun on an internal race where employees must prove their AI-resistant value or risk layoffs. Evans urged workers to identify skills that AI cannot replace and invest in capabilities where AI enhances rather than replaces human performance. The one thing that I will say here on this is that I think everyone can learn from this. I definitely think about this all the time. I think about how can I make myself valuable such that I cannot be replaced by a computer prompt. And everything that I come up with has to do with interactions with others, whether it's interactions with my coworkers, both my peers and those above me, or interactions with you folks, and interactions with just anyone in the finance world. I've noticed that just being human to other humans is actually a strategic advantage. And I think that's one thing that's really going to keep people employed. If you're good at working with others, whether it's your coworkers or your customers, if you're good at working as part of a team, you're going to be less likely to be replaced by AI. Just my feeling on that. Well, again, we'll see how this shakes out here. There's the tweet there. Jassie's announcement last week revealed Amazon has over 1,000 generative AI services and applications in development. Of course, some of those won't materialize, but 1,000 is a lot. The company's AI-driven Alexa Plus serves tens of millions of customers globally, while more than 50,000 advertisers used AI capabilities in the first quarter alone. Amazon has committed over $100 billion to AI infrastructure investments, including $13 billion for Australia's data center expansion through 2029. Internal employee reactions viewed by Business Insider showed mixed responses across Slack channels. This is interesting here. Internal employee reactions viewed by Business Insider. So I wonder how many companies are going to allow their internal Slack program to be viewed by other people, especially things like Business Insider here. This to me was also kind of interesting. Quote, "There's nothing more motivating on a Tuesday than reading that your job will be replaced by AI in a few years," end quote. Now, I do feel for that. If you woke up one day, and even, especially if you like your job, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, my job's going to be replaced by a computer. I can absolutely understand that. Tough to see how many of these will happen. And again, there are probably going to be other ways for employees to make themselves valuable. It sure seems like that's what they're talking about doing here. Others question whether senior leadership would face similar cuts, noting Amazon's S-team expansion under Jassy. Generally speaking, I don't know. So, Day Trader here, didn't you say, how about an AI CEO? This is actual trouble. An AI CEO would be actual trouble. I think that the C-suite executives are probably less likely to be replaced by AI. I don't know that that's going to be even possible, frankly. Born damn robots. Cam saying AI is getting better at empathy and emotions than most people, unfortunately. Mama Bear says, this is why my son is moving up fast relationships and networking. I'll take a robot to do my laundry. Actually, that would actually help. A robot doing my laundry would be great. Anyway, Evans warned that attacking leadership for delivering an unpleasant truth only encourages delays that leads to a brutal surprise down the road. He advised employees to start transitioning skills immediately, stating that get started or get hurt. This I completely agree with. Complaining, that's not going to do anything, right? If you see that this is coming, we can all kind of see it. I think your best bet then there is to prepare. Okay, and then actually let's go back to Pro here real quick. We'll take a look at the Amazon chart also. Now, one of the other things to consider here, Amazon moving more of their workforce here to AI or autonomous or robots or whatever it is that they do to replace it, that should absolutely increase margins. That should increase profitability. I see the stock going higher from that. Looking at the stock chart here, we did a great job recapturing the 200, backtesting the 200, but we've really struggled to go any higher than that. I know we're sitting above the 20 right now. It's great that we're consolidating, but a move through 220 here, which was a former support, now resistance level, this would be important for then going after the this is 242 and change as the all-time highs here. I do think this is a great stock to own long-term. I don't see this changing at all. Even without trying, I see my relationship with Amazon expanding. I don't even think about the Prime membership that I pay every year and have been paying every year since like 2010 or whatever it is. It's insignificant. It doesn't even matter. It's just, you just pay for it. So I do think that this is going to be a good long-term own here. I think if you pretty much buy it at every level here, if you give enough time horizon, you're going to be up on that position. But looking for something a little bit more tactical, maybe we're at a pretty good spot holding the 20-day moving average here. Could we get a Benzinga AI host? It's happening now in social media. Could they replace me with AI? I mean, I suppose they could. I don't know how good it would be. I've actually seen some of what you're talking about on social media. I've seen some social media people now have their digital AI assistant, which is some very, good-looking female AI. I don't know. I don't think Benzinga is going to do that. I'll say this, EKS. I have no indication that that's going to happen here. We like to bring you human beings. Born saying, no way, you're too good, Ryan. That's nice of you. I don't think everyone agrees with you, but I appreciate that. I do agree with producer here. Those AI hosts are weird. Sure seems like that. Sure seems like that. Okay, we'll see. And we're not replacing Ryan with a robot. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. AI could never replace Ryan. Oh man, you guys are too kind here. But that's good to hear. I don't want to be replaced by AI, and I'm going to keep trying to add tools to my toolbox to make that impossible, frankly. Okay. One more story here. We, of course, have to talk about this. This is actually becoming a joke now at this point. We're expecting 13 here pretty soon, but we're going to keep talking about Tesla and Waymo here. Gary Black weighs in on the Tesla versus Waymo debate, says investors need to stop focusing on efficacy. In a response in social media, in a response to a social media reply on X questioning robotaxis' autonomy, investor Gary Black said on Wednesday that investors need to stop focusing on Tesla versus Waymo efficiency. He then added that Waymo had recently conducted an equity raise of $45 billion at a $45 billion valuation. The investor then shared how robotaxis' perceived value with the assumption that Tesla's stock value is 60x PE versus a 25 to 30% long-term growth is $500 billion. Black said that investors are valuing robotaxi because of Elon Musk's EV giant's far greater scalability and profitability. Boy, who's been saying that? Yeah, we have been saying that. Musk has shared on multiple occasions that most Tesla vehicles can serve as robotaxis thanks to full self-driving. The comments come in as investor had earlier called out a lack of constructive feedback for the company's Austin launch. Black also rubbished claims. I'll tell you what, the first time that I read this, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to use that in a sentence. I love the word rubbish. I feel like I should use that more often, and I love how it was used here. I'm going to give myself a goal to try to redo that here today. Black also rubbished claims of Tesla's robotaxi being years ahead of the competition as nonsense. Tesla's robotaxi launch in Austin on Sunday has garnered a lot of attention with the auto industry, with experts like Wedbush Securities' Dan Ives praising the launch of a golden age for Tesla. And Alex Potter, an analyst with the investment firm Piper Sandler, said that the launch could disrupt the industry. Here we go. Day trader, your victory lap, buddy. I am setting you up for a victory lap. The videos for Austin and the robotaxi are crazy. That thing is not ready. There you go. I actually didn't see any of those videos. Frankly, I don't need any other reason to hate autonomous traffic anymore. So I'll just take your word for it there, day trader. I still maintain Tesla's going to be the winner here. Tesla's going to be the one that can scale. Gary Black can stuff it. However, the launch has also invited a lot of scrutiny, with the NHTSA saying it's reviewing incidents where the robotaxi committed possible traffic violations like speeding, as well as driving in the wrong lane. Now, the driving in the wrong lane has me worried. The speeding, speed limits are merely suggestions, folks. Just kidding. Always obey your local traffic laws. The EV giant also faced a wrongful death lawsuit over a 2024 crash in New Jersey when a Tesla Model S carrying 3 passengers veered off the road, adding to questions over the full self-driving technology's readiness to be deployed to the real world. Day trader, do your victory lap, my man. Do your victory lap. Burn those calories. Enjoy. Okay. Let's see. Is 13 here? He is. Uh-oh. Let's go ahead and bring 13 on here. 13, good morning. Is that a fresh cut, bro?
Yes, it is. I leave today because I'm going to California visiting family. Got to look crisp.
Surprise, folks. No more 13 tomorrow or Monday, but we will get them back for Tuesday. This is a really good segue. 13. First of all, very hard worker. We appreciate all of your efforts here. So enjoy your time off with your family. There's never a bad time to do that, I should say. In the meantime, I will get Kevin to join me for both Friday and Monday. So it should be fun. We're going to, despite 13 going out and partying with his family, we are still going to have fun here on the show. We're still going to find stuff. We're still going to talk stocks, and we're still going to make some money. So 13, enjoy your vacation. Again, thanks for all of your hard work. Where do you want to start today, my man?
Let's get these movers over with.
Let's do it. Let's do it. By the way, California Love, the song. I don't like California. I would never consider living there, literally ever. It's the last state in the United States that I would ever consider living. And I have visited here at least 20 plus times. I actually think that total is probably closer to 30 because I have family that still lives in California. But what I will say is that when this song came out, I struggle to think of more banger songs when they were new. California Love, absolutely incredible. I still play that. I still like that song. The other one that I would say had a very similar effect on me was Still Dre when that album came out. So anyway, I love this song so much. An absolute classic. Classic. Okay.
I would suggest that if you ever have the time, and I know you don't want to go there, but north of Sacramento, a lot of really great people, really great mountain terrain, and I recommend going to Northern California.
That's okay. This is, first of all, my comment there before you folks take this out of line and freak out about it. My comment is not about the people. It's about the state and the policies that the state has enacted. It's complete trash. Now, what I will say is that a majority of my family does live in Northern California. I've spent more time in Northern California than I have in Southern California. I completely concur. If given the choice, I would choose Northern California. Way better. You have every possible weather within like an hour drive from almost anywhere in Northern California.
One of the things I used to like about California when I was living there was the ability to go and do multiple things in a single day. Like you could snowboard and surf in the same day. You could
that is cool. I admit that's
all that. Cool. Yeah, we called that. I think it was called the California trifecta, where you could do snowboard, surf, and water ski in the same day. You could also sand dune in the same day. It's so geographically compact with all the different terrains and environments that you can do all kinds of different things there. So that was one of the big pluses that was living out there. But anyway, let's get to these movers.
Okay, first one here, ASTI, Ascent Solar Technologies, and we have a catalyst here. Ascent Solar Technology shares are trading higher after the company entered into a collaborative agreement with NASA. So on the surface here, this reads really well. This stock was about $1.17 yesterday, closed at $1.16.5. We popped above $5 here today, although we've bled a lot of that back and actually moved through the VWAP here to the downside. Let me do a quick look around the horn, then we'll review that news catalyst a little bit more. 1.68% of the float shorted here. That's on 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of just 75,000. So again, with this as a potential short-term day trade here today, this is definitely one that you want to be out of by the end of the day. If this dries up again, you might be trapped. Be careful there. What do you got on this one? ASTI.
So they're into a collaborative agreement with NASA to produce photovoltaic cells. Hold on, let me pull this up here for their power beaming capabilities. So this, I don't know if I'm going to add this to the space list or not. Probably could, but photovoltaic cells, that's also an Earth-based endeavor as well. But anyway, 1.6 million shares in the float. Going to be easy to move this around. This company does have cash for a quarter, but it looks like there is an offering on the table. Yesterday, I have a headline here that Ascent Solar files to sell 3.21 million shares of common stock and warrants. Don't see that Form S related to that. But anyway, with that headline out there, I just wanted to point out that there could be an offering coming, especially with their cash position. So just something to think about there if you're going to end up trading this. But like Ryan said, it's probably going to be one of those things you're going to be in, out, and then not look at anymore, because if that offering is going to be coming today, you do not want to be in this.
Yeah, no doubt.
And as far as the chart goes, we are trading beneath the VWAP, trying to turn around, not liking the way the MACD is looking. It looks like we might get a crossing there and have it go lower. But if we do end up holding here at 3, where there is a seller trying to push this down right now, we need to see a recapture of that VWAP. So that's what the only thing I'm going to be waiting for is to see if we can get back up to VWAP as we approach the open.
Edward here is saying 13. How do you know if there's an offering coming?
Because I mentioned that there's a headline, and I was saying that I couldn't find the Form S, which usually is the SEC filing that would go along with an offering being on the table. I'm looking at the news feed here, and yesterday there was a headline from one of Benzinga's partners that they are filing to sell 3.21 million shares. Now, unfortunately, I'm behind a paywall on that, so I couldn't read into that enough. But just having that headline out there, looking a little bit backwards, they're talking about reducing authorized shares of common stock from 500 to 200. Seems like there's some kind of plan here for their share structure. And it looks like if that is true, that they are looking to file more shares of common stock, this isn't something I'm going to want to hang around in. So it's still a kind of a question mark because I don't have that Form S I'm looking for. But at the same time, this is only going to be a day trade, and I don't want to be in this. And I think there's other things that
I found it.
Oh, you did find it. I'm sorry. Go
ahead.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't find it where I initially looked for it. There actually might be a problem that I'll look into. Okay. But I have a Form S1 here.
Is it for the employees via benefits plan?
Where am I looking for that?
That would be May 29th. Is that what you're looking at?
No, June 25th, 7:25 a.m. Eastern Time, Ascent Solar Technologies, Form S1, registration statement under the SEC. Okay. Yeah, so this is for sure it.
Okay, let me great. At least you found it because I don't have it there.
Okay, I did find it here. This was so interesting. Couple of things here real quick, folks. So number one, just using Benzinga Pro to do this. This is actually a pretty good lesson because this is an example where something got hung up here, but Benzinga Pro is still able to give you that information. So number one here, we, and 13, shout out to you because you've done this a number of times when we've broke down some of the movers. Within the calendar, we actually have an offerings calendar, which gives you a pretty good layout here of whether or not there is some type of offering that has been filed, whether or not it's a shelf, et cetera, et cetera. The one that 13 is talking about is not here. This was the first place that I checked. Furthermore, if you go to the news feed, you can actually break down the news feed by source. So SEC filings is one of them. I did not see the one that you're looking for, 13. That's why I was like, okay, what's going on here? However, if you go back to the news and you actually, let's see, where was that? Here's the news that you referenced, 13, the one from yesterday. You'll notice here that when you highlight over some of these news posts, one of the icons that you have at the far right margin is a little box with an up arrow, and that pops this content out. Popping this content out actually brings you, let me see if I can share this with you. I'll try and do this here real quick. This brings you to the paywall that 13 was talking about. Here it is. Here is the Seeking Alpha paywall where you can't really read in there. You actually have to buy Seeking Alpha. I don't want to do that, but take a look at this. The filing is linked right here at the top. And if you click on that, boom, there is your Form S1. So this is one of the reasons why Pro is so powerful, because there's more than one news source. If there's I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's a job that got stuck. Maybe it's a technical snafu. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But there's multiple ways to get to the same information that you want to get to. And this was a really good example. The more you know. Okay, let's go back to the chart here. What do you think, 13? I didn't mean to break your concentration there.
No worries. I kind of covered the chart. We need to see this thing come back up to VWAP. It looks like it is setting up to go lower. So as we approach the open, I want to see what it's going to do. Not going to take any position in this until I think this is going to start making a move. I don't even take a position on this at all. But if this starts to make a move back up towards VWAP, then that might set something up for us to where we could trade it. But for now, it doesn't look that great.
Okay, good stuff there. ASTI, I would agree with you. Looking at this chart formation here, less than ideal.
Yeah,
less than ideal. Okay, next here is going to be CYN, and it is worth noting that this was actually at the top of the list when we first started talking about this. CYN, this is Syngin. Syngin's shares are trading higher after the company announced it partnered with NVIDIA to showcase its autonomous industrial vehicles, at Automatica 2025. The stock was what, about $4 yesterday? Today it's 13. So if you have this one, and if for some reason you were holding this one overnight, let's ring that register, folks. This was a home run for you. This is actually still continuing to grind higher here. Really awesome pre-market formation, holding above the VWAP, extreme strength, good volume, the whole 9 yards. We take a look at the short interest here. 4.52% of the float shorted here with 1.12 days to cover. That comes on 49,000 shares of volume. Today we've traded 30 million. Float here is 1.02 million. What do you think, 13?
It's interesting that we're only hearing about this now because, and this thing is currently taking off. Because this auto show is happening as we speak. This goes from June 24th to 27th. And we're just now finding out about this company having partnered with NVIDIA to showcase its Drive Mod, which is basically a system that you can integrate into existing OEM vehicles. So it's like taking a regular vehicle and making it autonomous with this system, which is pretty interesting. So that's what they are doing. They have, it does need cash. It has short-term investments that kind of cover it for a couple of quarters. But after that, they're going to need to raise some capital. 1 million shares in the float. I'm going to make this really easy to move around. And as I keep talking, it keeps rising.
I was just going to say.
I hope as soon as I be quiet, it doesn't turn around here. But this is absolutely taking off. I haven't looked at any levels for this, so you give me a moment here, and I'll pull this up for you. But man, this thing has been reverse split into oblivion. This may let's see. We have a possibility here of going to 21.15. That would be the 65 EMA on the daily. Just with the way that we're moving up here, it looks like that could certainly happen. But first, I think we need to get past 17.50. That seems like that would be another resistance area.
Okay.
So there we go. Those two levels I would keep an eye on. I think, but that 65 EMA, that seems like that's certainly a possibility with the way this is moving today.
Okay. Really good stuff there. There he is. He's here. Smoked tuna. Bonjour. Sin 70% on the tuna signal AI score while the price was at $5. Tuna, let me know. Is there a way to just search for tickers? Oh, yes. It's just really hidden in here. Let me see if this works. CYN, not found in database. So I need to figure out how you do that, by the way. Here, let me try this one more time. Sorry, there it is. 70. There it is. Okay, so I figured it out. Never mind, Tuna. Tuna, we did have a question before you got here. What were you looking at here today? And I read that the top 4 stocks on the signal are NDRA, SRFM, ULY, and VOR. So let me know if I missed anything there. I think it was maybe it was Mama Bear that was asking. Anyway, let us know what is at the top of your watch list here today, if you don't mind. Okay, good stuff there, 13. Let me move on. The next one, VOR. This is another one that is in the top 4 on the Tuna AI signal. VOR Biopharma shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a global license agreement with Remegen and its autoimmune asset Elitacia. Bro, I don't know. You try it, 13. I'll butcher it once, stall for time so that you can practice reading it, and then you go ahead. There you go. That's what we'll go with. Cool.
Right.
Sure. Yes, you're correct. Looking at the stock here, we did trade above $1. We have a double top here at about 145. We did lose the VWAP here today, but we're really not breaking down through $1, which is really good to see. Quick look here at the short interest, 9.72% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 6.99 million. So unlike the other ones, still actually trades with higher volume. Today, we've traded over 42 million. Float here is 45 million. We've almost rotated that prior to the market being open here. What do you think here, ticker VOR?
Yeah, so this global license agreement with Remegen, the company needs cash, but they just announced a private placement of $175 million. So I don't think they're going to need to do any capital raises. That wouldn't make sense to me after that. 45 million shares in the float. That's going to make this the largest share structure we're going to be trading today for the ones that we're looking at. The movers anyway. As far as the chart goes, we are fortunately above $1 now, but we are in this coming up to this area just beneath it where there's some consolidation back in the beginning of the year to toward the end of February. This consolidation would probably have me the most concerned because there's a lot of price action in there. It's for a good period of time. It looks like this starts at about 120, 125 and goes up to 160, the bulk of it anyway. If we manage to get through that, there's a 180 resistance level. And then beyond that, we just have more consolidation from 2024. So
okay.
Not sure how well this is going to trade. That 45 million share float, a little concerning. Not going to be as easy to move around, but we'll see what we end up getting here. We're above the 65 and 200 EMAs, so those could be support on the way back down if we do lose altitude here.
Yeah. Okay, really quickly, I'm going to go back to this because the chat is popping here. CYN, by the way, continuing to trade higher here. Volume also continuing to expand. Blazed Rhino saying CYN seems sketchy today. And Jay doing the due diligence that we all should be doing on a regular basis here. CYN has had 3 reverse splits the last 2 years, and this is a low floater. Again, as mentioned here, floats 1 million. Also, using Benzinga Pro makes this very, very easy. We can absolutely take a look at the splits. Here they are. Jay, in addition to doing 3, 13 is exactly right. They are massive. A 1 for 150, a 1 for 100, and a 1.1 to 1 stock to, oh, okay, so sorry, 2 reverse splits. I beg your pardon. 2 reverse splits here. They were both huge. And one of them was in February of this year. So we're bringing all that up to remind you that although this is a hot mover here today, don't get married to this. Don't think that this is going to be one of those huge things. This could very, very easily be down 60% tomorrow. So be careful on that. Does not look like it is great. Smoke Tuna, reiterating what we're saying here all of the time, folks. I'm going to keep pounding the table. It's not an investment. It's a trade. Those are different. Good stuff here. CYN, and then also really good breakdown there, 13 on VOR. Speaking of breakdown, so is the price. Next here is going to be KWE. This is K-West Microsystems. Y'all folks might remember this back from Wednesday, June 18th, where this thing went absolutely buck wild. Did give one trade, right? We had the impulse move. It rolled over to that 15 EMA. It ripped through the VWAP on volume. Definitely gave one of the trades that we're looking for here. But just kind of a shout out to Jay here. As soon as that trade was over, as soon as that short-term gunslinger day trade was over, this thing reversed hard, closed lower than the VWAP pretty substantially. It did try to get back to the VWAP there, but it still closed lower than the VWAP. The next morning was the dirtiness. This thing popped in the pre-market, gave everything back, rolled over, and since then has continued to roll over like a dog learning a new trick. So we got a pop here this morning. Let's not be fooled. If you're going to trade this, that's up to you, but be very careful. Know how this thing trades.
And you might not see it be called KWE for very long because they are going to be going through a name change. That's what today's news is about, the Form 6. They looks like on June 30th, they are going to be changed to DFSC for DefSec Technologies. So I guess maybe, I don't know, they didn't want to be associated with Kanye West or whatever. Because that
which makes sense,
but that's a joke. I don't know the exact reason they're doing this, but it seems like there's more information there in the Form 6 if you want to read it. But it looks like they're going through a name change. They're opening another facility. There's other bullet points here, but anyway, there's a lot of information to go through there. This is going to move pretty easily because the float's so low, 524,000 shares. We're trading over we're trading over twice that already. So, we could see some pretty decent movements out of this one today, but, to your point, this is not something that you just want to kind of pick up and hold.
Yeah.
This is just a trade only. So if it sets up, try and take that trade if that's what you'd like to do. Otherwise, I think you can find some better things to make money with.
Yeah, and by the way, this thing did try to get back to the VWAP, couldn't get above it, reversed. So again, just factor that in here. Next one to talk about is going to be Beam. This is actually a stock that we've looked at before, ticker BEEM. Beam Global shares are trading higher after the company announced that it entered into a 50-50 joint venture with the Platinum Group in the UAE. So that is your catalyst here. The stock was about $1.50 yesterday, traded up to $2.60 before coming in and losing the VWAP here today. We did consolidate around the VWAP. Before moving lower, this tells me that although we're only 15 cents away, I would be entirely unsurprised if this stock made another run back at its VWAP, maybe even cross it. I don't feel great about this reaching the 257 pre-market high, but we'll see how things shake out here. Quick look around the horn on this one. 5.43% of the float shorted with 7.57 days to cover. That comes on only 140,000 shares of volume. Today we've traded 14 million. The float's 14.8 million. So what do you think here, 13? BEEM, we got a trade coming up here?
How is this different from Plug Power or any of these other EV charging equipment manufacturers? It seems like that's what this is all about.
Yep.
They're an EV charger. So that would be one of my first questions. My next one is, do they have the money they need to do all the things they want to do? And unless there's an offering out there, which I haven't looked enough yet, it seems like they're going to need to raise capital. They have $2.5 million in the bank. They're burning it at a rate of anywhere between 5 and 15 million a quarter. I don't know. Let me take a look at the chart here on this one.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, just looking at this here, Beam Global experienced a significant decline in revenues, reporting 11.5 million for the third quarter of 2024, a 30.4% decrease compared to 18.5 million recorded in the second quarter of 2023. Just overlaying this on some of the other charging stocks that we've talked about, like Blink Charging and ChargePoint, you had mentioned Plug there. It seems to me like this is probably not something that's really growing.
Well, if this is one of, because I think what the big thing for this is that it uses solar in order to keep those units ready for charging EVs. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't charge it. But it seems I keep seeing headlines like surge in orders for EV ARC off-grid solar charging units. So I tend to think that the units charge using solar, and then when the EVs come along and need power, they just plug in, and that's just the sustainable life cycle of their units. I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly what it does. I'm looking at the chart right now, a daily chart, and thinking this has a double bottom happening here. And we are trying to, it looks like this is trying to get to $2 today. We did recapture the 65 EMA, which I have at 175. We are trading at 186 right now. I think that as long as we hold that 65 EMA, we could see $2 today. But after $2, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, MC Hammer, MC Midnight Hammer. I lost my ass on ChargePoint a few years ago, but it's better now, right? LOL. No, I don't like any of the charging stocks for any type of long-term play. I don't believe in any of this stuff.
I only like this chart. This daily chart looks like we got a double bottom happening here. We could see some kind of W-shaped recovery. We are already seeing a lot of that with today's price action getting over the 65 EMA. But just to point out, we had the same type of thing happen on May 15th, where we popped over the 65 EMA, came right back down the next day with authority and went even lower. So I think that could be something similar we see today, but not going to make any guarantees. I still think that that 2 is a possibility. And if there's a setup here, I think that we might be wanting to take it. Looking at the 5-minute chart right now, we are trying to recapture VWAP. So this actually
VWAP is at 2 for me, by the way.
Yeah, and this it is. It's
for Beam, right?
For Beam, yeah. For me, I have 186, but that's okay. That's a little bit higher up. Yours is actually closer to the breakdown spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, but in any event, this is looking like it's trying to come back up. If I get a recapture of VWAP, I think it's on for $2. But that's just me. So we'll see what happens out of the open here. We got 18 minutes. Let's see what we get in the run up to this open.
Let me ask you, do we have anything else here on the movers list that we want to cover? I didn't. SRFM mentioned here that I know this really traded down yesterday. It's trading up a little bit. I don't trust it. Was there anything else on this list that you want to take a look at? Circle, I guess. Circle has really started to move down from the 280 handle. We're sitting here at 210. It's curling up on Circle. Is there anything else from this list, or can we move to some of the stocks that folks wanted to take a look at? Good morning, Manny.
We can move to some of the stocks that folks want to talk about, but or that we want to look at. But Tommy O was asking about, or I'm sorry, not Tommy O. Somebody was asking about
Edward.
CYN. Okay, okay. About the 17. Sean Boyle. He was asking about the 17 point on SYN.
Sure.
And I believe when I was looking at that, that was just an area on my chart that looked like it could find resistance. 17. Let me just go back up to that. There it was. Okay, so let's do this. I think looking at this a second time, maybe not 17 exactly. but 1750, and if not there, then 1880. Those two areas look like those could be where we get a price rejection at, just based on the previous price action going back to February. I'm seeing that 1870 in particular, 1880, 1870 in particular, looks like a particularly strong support turn resistance level. So I would think I may want to put more weight into that area than 17. But that 17 area I was also looking at because there's a gap. So just a couple of things I was noticing about that particular area. So don't know what the exact value is where we're going to get that rejection, but I would say in that range that we just talked about, there's going to be resistance. So I would expect that kind of supply zone to come into effect if we get up there today.
Okay. Good stuff. Bernard asking, when are they going to run a cable in the roadway so that you can recharge as you go? To me, that is going to be one of the big things for electric cars that would cause me to maybe consider buying one. If I simply drive it on the road and that helps it recharge, then we'll be in good shape. That's a good call there.
I have my my cell phone resting on a charging pad. This
wireless charger. Yeah.
That's the thing I've been kind of wondering myself, is when they're going to line the roads with that capability. But then you also have to have every single EV have the capability to charge from the road. So whenever everybody's all in agreement that we can do this together, that's when it's going to happen. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
And there's other like real hurdles that you need to get over that a lot of people don't discuss. We've actually, shout out to our group here, because we've actually discussed this a few times. Namely, wireless charge. We actually talked about this in happy hour too. Wireless charging is, at least in my experience with the different things that I've wireless charged, degrades the lifespan of the battery considerably. Okay, it makes the battery lose its potential more and more, and fairly quickly. The other thing is it produces extreme amounts of heat. Like, for example, I have a wireless charging dock in my car. It is actually one of the things that was supposed to be really cool about this car. And I don't use it because if you put your phone on there, it actually heats up quite a bit. There's a lot of venting and heat issues that come into play here. So I'll just be very curious if they can figure out some of these hurdles. I still think we're a ways away from that.
I would be more confident saying, because I think we already have this developed, we're likely to see photovoltaic paint on cars sooner than we're likely to see this wireless technology along the road. I think that's going to happen much sooner, or it'll happen in lieu of this wireless charging system along the road. Such an expensive endeavor. I think photovoltaic paint is something you'll see much sooner than that.
I love this comment here. Jay Wild, they can't even fix potholes, let alone recharge cars. Oh, you're exactly right on that. And then one more question here we'll get for Edward. Hi, 13. Why do you keep mentioning the 65 EMA? What is the benefit over an SMA, or especially a 20 SMA? Do you want to you want me to start? You want to tag team this one?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start with this one. Couple of things. Number one, big thing here, EMA versus SMA. EMA going to weight more of the more recent data points in the calculation, whereas an SMA is an equal distribution of weighting across all of the data points used in such a calculation. This means that it responds quicker to intraday moves, and as a result, we tend to use these EMAs more for short-term trading setups, especially day trading. As far as the 65, 13, you correct me if I've missed something here. I don't know if there's anything important about this number or what it does if you multiply this 6 times and put it next to an apple or whatever magician stuff you want to do. But what I will say here is, as far as pattern recognition goes, we've seen this quite a bit. We've actually seen this EMA provide some type of support or resistance in a number of times. For also, just to be clear here, because it might be difficult for you to see, when I'm sharing these intraday charts here on Pro, whether it's in the movers workspace or the main workspace, the dark blue line is in fact that 65 EMA. The lightest blue line is the VWAP. The In between blue line, and which might be difficult for you folks to see, is the 15, and the purple is the 200. Again, that's only on the intraday charts.
Yeah. So
okay.
What the 65-day can, and this is just on the daily chart, but it can represent a quarter's worth of trading. But for day trading purposes, there are 4 key EMAs that I use. It's the 9, 15, 65, and 200, and these work across multiple time frames. So and being that they're EMAs, they're more weighted heavily to the recent price action. So when I want to see a quick movement for a trade, like let's say it was coming down, the price was the stock was selling off and it was coming down towards the 200, let's say daily EMA. That's where I would want to try and take the trade for a bounce, because they tend to represent some pretty interesting and key reversal areas. They're not necessarily pivot points, but those EMAs have provided price action reversals many multiples of times. And the 65 EMA has been one of the strongest ones to do that. Now, I know that there's a whole bunch of other math that you can calculate into why the 65 EMA works so well, but I haven't really dug in so much to question why it does. I know that it does. It's proven many times that it does. The 65, the 200, very, very strong, larger EMAs. The 9 and 15, very, very strong, smaller ones. And watching how they interact with each other, how they cross, how they interact with the VWAP, they've all provided really key setups, and also have spoken to when I need to be in, when I need to be out. A lot of times, and this has happened more times than I haven't seen, but as soon as you get the 65 EMA approaching the VWAP in an uptrend, it tends to cause the price to break out. And sure enough, we're getting a little bit of that right now. As the 65 EMA approaches, and we're still a little bit far away from my liking, but it's getting closer to the VWAP, and we are ripping now with CYN.
Yeah, we are.
That's what I'm referring to, by the way. 65 EMA, yeah. The VWAP. Yeah.
Joe's asking, is there really mathematics behind the 65 EMA, or is it more of an empirical observation and back testing? It's both.
Yes,
13 he just outlined that for you. Really good breakdown there, 13. Okay, let me flip over to the main chart tool, which appears to be working today. Knock on wood. Thank you, development team. Let's go. All right, we're going to start here with some of the stocks that folks wanted to take a look at. First one on the list here is going to be Coinbase. Coinbase obviously made that huge move recently. This is tied to that circle move, the Genius Act, the whole 9 yards here. Coinbase actually also had some other good news yesterday, right? They had an upgrade there. Circle's successful IPO, a material event for Coinbase. That comes from JP Morgan. There's also the whole JP Morgan kind of allowing Bitcoin. There was news about Bitcoin being able to be used as assets for collateral for a mortgage and things like that. All of this stuff really positive for the Bitcoin sector, and coin is clearly benefiting from this. Looking at our coin chart here, to me, it sure seems like we're going to the top of this wedge that we have for it. 13, I'm pretty sure that you helped me draw both of these trend lines over the past. These are both older trend lines that I have. To me, let's see, 400, I think, is probably your target here. 400. That's another 50 points away from where we're at.
Yeah, I actually had, and this is really cool. I had 350 marked off because that was a pretty important level going back to the IPO. If you look at just draw a 350 line and look to the left all the way to the IPO, this has been the breakout spot. We ended up running up to it in December last year before we pulled off of this, and then now we've just broken over it, like a big move over it. We gapped over it, I believe, before we filled the gap to the downside. Anyway, that was a big level to close over. We get multiple closes over 350. This is going to be a strong support level, I believe.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I like Coinbase here. I'm actually disappointed because I don't have a position on this right now, and I should. This was great as we gapped over the 200-day. When we back tested the 200-day, I know we didn't quite test it, but that was the ad day, the buy spot here, Friday, June 13th. I was out of the office.
I want to speak to this about what Zach McCracken said. He likes the 200 and the 500. Now, is that SMA or EMA? Because I like the 200 and 500 SMAs because those are great for when I look at longer-term charts, when I'm looking to do like longer-term trades. Those are two of the most helpful moving averages for me.
Yeah, me too.
So let me know which ones you're referring to, SMA or EMA, but because I do like the 200 and 500 SMAs.
And then just going back to something that Day Trader had said, because it's topical right now,
Yes.
And you are on the 5-minute most of the time for day trades, right? So yeah. So really quickly, just to clear up here, when I am using this movers workspace, when we are observing the movers in the morning, this is a 5-minute chart. In fact, just for your awareness here, the watermark within the chart tells you the ticker, the name of the company, and the time frame that we're on. So this 5 here represents a 5-minute chart. If I change that to 15-minute, it changes to 15. When we go to my main workspace here, hang on a sec, 13. When we go to my main workspace here, it is the exact same. I'm also using a 5-minute chart, and it has the exact same watermark. This is why I set this up in Pro, and this is why I was so frustrated earlier this week, because I have another workspace here that is just a chart, but it is set to the daily, and it has all of my simple moving averages on them, and they are all color-coded. So to me, when I couldn't use this, that's one of the reasons that I was frustrated. Just know what you're looking at when you're looking at my screen. If you ever have a question about the time frame or something like that, that's important, please ask. I'm happy to share all of that.
And Zach McCracken is saying he uses the volume-weighted moving average, which is something I don't think I've heard of somebody using on a regular basis. So that's interesting. I'm not ever going to knock anybody for what they use, because if it is making you successful in your trades, who am I to say that it's not right or it's wrong or whatever? I do what works for you. I just saw that Smoked Tuna. He just uses VWAP and MACD, and that's it. So not everybody needs multiple indicators or a lot of indicators. The ones that I'm just using for day trading are going to be the 9, 15, 65, 200 EMAs, VWAP, and then of course my volume, RSI, and MACD, and that's all I use. Of course, I also have my order book and my price ladder, but on a chart, just on a chart is what I'm referring to. Those are all the indicators I use.
Yeah. Ryan is fine-tuning Benzinga software. That's what's happening here, peeps. That is a core job responsibility that I have. Anytime that I am awake, there is a good chance that I am doing something that tries to make this platform a little bit better. You are correct with that. Okay, that's Coinbase. Really good stuff there. Next here was going to be NVIDIA. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on NVIDIA. This is moving higher here. Blue sky breakout. We talked about that. 156 right now. I don't have necessarily another target here on NVIDIA. We are a little overcooked here on the RSI and the Williams percent hour. 13, you got any thoughts here? NVDA.
Yeah, with the all-time highs that we're making here, we also are going to see a golden cross. Probably it's happening today, and I think we'll see the crossing happen tomorrow, provided we don't start suddenly trading underneath 128. Anyway, for NVIDIA, yeah, this is like you said, this is pretty extended. I would expect this to come back in. A lot of these tech names need to come back in. AMD needs to come back in, even though I think that goes much higher with all the bullish signals that one has. I think Broadcom goes higher, but like I said, a lot of these names have just been on a massive, massive run since April 7th. They need to cool off so that we can go higher.
Yeah. Really quickly, next we're going to talk here real quickly about PayPal. This was the next one on the list, but I do want to address something here. Sassy Butterfly Chick, as always, love how you guys explain and educate me. Love y'all. So one of the big things here that's different that we actively try to do, I don't think 13 and I think that we can make you rich. No. You are going to be the one that does that. But what we can do is we can show you what we're looking at. We can explain our thought process. We can explain things that we notice. We can explain patterns that we identify. And we can hope that y'all folks take something from that, whether it's a positive, whatever. Just going back to our discussion about moving averages and how there's not necessarily a right one. What I've noticed is that the traders that are the most successful in this have carved out their own method of making money. And to reiterate something that 13 said, who am I to tell you what the right way is? There's many different ways to do this. Find out what works for you, Sassy. We're happy to do this. Okay.
Real quick, Jay was saying you've been you've been bearish long term on NVIDIA for quite a while now. I've never really liked NVIDIA's valuation. I think it's been overvalued for a very long time, especially when you have the company it relies so heavily upon valued less than it. Like I'm referring to TSM. I think TSM is a far more valuable company than NVIDIA, and I understand the appeal here with NVIDIA, and they're pretty much like the only ones that have the top AI chips right now. But I think that could change. And that's why I have all these other companies that I'm taking direct positions in. I have NVIDIA through an ETF. So I'm not necessarily bearish on the sector. It's just NVIDIA I have a problem with because for a number of factors, and the valuation is one of them. I don't think they're worth what the price is. That's just me, though.
The other thing is here, and this doesn't necessarily affect the stock as much. We've covered a lot about some of the missteps that they've made with their graphics card division, Jay. And this is something that 13 and I care a lot about because we build our own terminals. This might be something that's an oversight for others. As far as the actual price here, I too have been bearish on NVIDIA. I changed my stance when we tested the 500-day, though, just to be clear.
Yeah, that cooling did help it, but I still don't like the valuation of this.
Yeah. Pete here saying NVIDIA chart is why I have a long love-hate relationship with Williams percent R as an indicator. And I'll tell you, this comment hits you right in the feels because that is absolutely correct. I actually have the same thing with RSI. There's RSI can really make it look like this is due for a pullback, and the short-term trade to the downside is the way to go. And then it just keeps going higher. And you're like, and so I totally get that. I still observe it. I still try to factor it in. But I like I said, I understand this one. I understand this one. None of these indicators are for sure signals. I think that's the big takeaway here. Okay, I know we're less than a minute here. Really quickly on PayPal, this stock, we remember last time we talked about this inverse head and shoulders, possible break through the 75 neckline. This is absolutely a key level to look for. We do have the 200-day right above at 76.70. A break above this 200-day sets up the next resistance area here at about 80. And then what's this? 82.5. Gap fill up to 86. There's a lot of upside targets here on PayPal. The big move here. Can we get above 75? If we can do it with gusto, I think you actually have a long side trade setup here. Okay, we are about to open. We are open. Good
and
Lord, I timed that so well. It's unbelievable. It was an excellent, by the way.
And yes, MC Midnight Hammer, I do have an NVIDIA card. I do.
As do I, by the way, for whatever that's worth.
All right, CYN, here we go. Right up to 1794, almost at 18. Man, this thing has just got no chill out of the gate here. So we could see a halt. And it looks like we're about to get one. And halted.
Halts to the upside, 1794.
Mm-hmm. So that was going, wow, we're getting a big move here in FCX, copper name, Freeport McMoran.
Freeport McMoran at ticker FCX. What's going on with this one? Sorry.
Not sure. I just noticed that it was popping all of a sudden out of the gate here. Not sure what the news is. I didn't look. I just saw that it had some big.
Yeah, yesterday they declared a dividend, but I don't. Well, that was actually a partner link.
Yeah, so
I don't know if there's anything fresh here. That looks like just kind of a move right out of the open.
Maybe we need to be looking at the price of copper. That might have everything to do with it. Well, okay, yeah, that's up 3% today. Copper futures. I think that could be what it is. It might have to do with the material itself. All right, go ahead.
I was just going to say ASTI here. Let me actually turn on that 200. ASTI. So we were just talking about some of these moving averages here. Mm-hmm. ASTI is literally sitting right at the 15 EMA. Now it does look like, especially if this volume continues to flow in here, it does look like this might try and push higher here. VWAP, I've got at 342. That would be target 1 on this.
Okay, thank you, Anne-Marie. It is copper futures. They are exploding, and it is a metal that's causing us to move. So you were going to get a lift in not just FCX, but a lot of these commodity metals names that produce copper. Beam, one of the ones we were talking about this morning, rejection at my VWAP and brought it down to the 65 EMA and right through it. Trying to recapture that right now, but if this kind of looks like it may end up going down to the 200 EMA, down around 162. So if this doesn't hold above the 65 EMA, that's where I think the price goes on BEEM. ASTI is trying to hang it in there, though, trying to go positive. VOR did get a little bit lower print out of the gate here, but that's trying to turn around as well. This one also beneath its VWAP and 65 EMA. So it's going to need some pretty good volume to get back above both of those. And yes, CIYN is suspended, halted. Yes, Charles. IWM is ripping. There has been some Fed speak happening here today. I wonder if that's helping. We had Goolsby this morning.
Well, we also had the GDP data
and
earlier
had
this
GDP
morning
as well. Yeah. So the Fed doesn't know what to do. All right. So let's see here. ASTI trying to go back up to VWAP. I have that value at 384. It's slowly making its way up there. Chewing through some sellers. FCX went all the way to 43.99 and backed off. Let's see if it can hold VWAP. But ASTI, this is looking like one of the better movers this morning, aside from CYN, which is still halted. VOR, this is having a nice recovery after dipping down to 95 cents, trying to get back above the 65 EMA and VWAP. Just printed in that consolidation from the pre-market before we lost the 65 EMA, trying to recapture that as well. Beam, trying to turn around still above its 65 EMA. Watch for how this candle closes. It could indicate a reversal.
Okay, good stuff, 13.
Let's see, what else is having a good day? It looks like QuantumScape from yesterday. That went up to 616, coming off of that now. SRFM, Surf Air Mobility, that went up to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. 310 is the print coming off of that. Marvell, I saw folks talking about this one. This blasting off to 80.58 before backing off. Still above 80 right now. Tesla's flying back. That's good to see. Dell making moves. Let's see here. Black Sky, that's getting mentioned. Let me look at my watch list to see what that's doing. Okay, so this I think is possibly the second day in a row this is up over 20%. Let me double check that. What was the ticker? BSK.
BSKY, yeah, sorry.
That's why. There we go. There we go. Okay. No, I was wrong about yesterday, but this has been moving up. Okay, so it was a few days ago. I think it was Monday I was thinking about. This has been on the rise ever since Monday, and now we are taking the next leg up here. Let me see what this news is. But this is one of our space theme stocks. So one of the most recent pieces of news came on Tuesday. That was the facility monitoring order worth over $24 million. They got a price raise this morning by Canaccord, raising it to 20. That's where it's now at. So there's that price target. Maybe it comes back in after this. Good to see another one of the space names run, though. A little bit of short interest, too. I think just under 11. Not quite the number of days to cover, but there is some of the float shorted. That's over 10%. So you told me about Black Sky a week ago. I missed that. I'm sorry, thinking about it. But it is on one of my lists, so I've been keeping an eye on it.
I will say regarding that comment there, I too have been missing some of the really good calls here. Folks, it's really important to pay attention to the chat there. 13 and I can't possibly get every single comment. We try, but you guys are so active and that's not a negative. That's actually a huge positive. You guys are so active that sometimes we're going to miss some things there.
Now, with VOR, we are coming up to a resistance area. It looks like about 125 be resistance. So, and the formation that we're getting out of VOR is a little concerning to me. It looks kind of bearish. So if we can't hold above VWAP here, I think this is going to come down and test the 200 EMA down at 84 cents. Just not looking like the greatest formation. Kind of has a head and shoulders look to it. So we'll see if that ends up happening. Still halted here with CYN. We might get an unhalt here pretty soon, shouldn't we? It's been enough time, hasn't it?
Let's see. CYN was halted at 9:30:34. It's 9:37. So I think this is going to be a 10-minute halt. You're looking at about 3 more minutes there.
Okay. All right. Where does this go? I'm still looking for 21. That's just beneath the 65 EMA. I have that at 2107. if we can blast through that 1875 1880 area I was talking about earlier, when we were trying to figure out the range of where the supply zone is, we just got to get past that, and then we're hitting the 65 EMA, I think. Okay, so Jay Rice mentioning EQIX absolutely killed Investor Day. That was yesterday. So this is a company that had a short report on it. And
I didn't see this. We had a short report. Lion, where are you at? Did you? This is right now.
No, this was a while ago that we had a short report.
Oh, sorry. I completely misunderstood. That's my fault.
I wasn't clear about that, but we did get the. I don't know if you remember when we got the short report information. It was, gosh, I want to say it was like a good while ago, like maybe even last year. Hold on a second. I thought it was Hindenburg that also did it. Let me double check this.
Okay. Nonetheless, here, this stock with a slew of price target adjustments here today to the downside, stock down 10%.
Here we go. Okay, so I will post this because this was, okay, so it was March of last year. It was Hindenburg. I posted it in the chat. There you go. But man, this thing is getting absolutely smacked today, and it was getting smacked yesterday too. So maybe the short report finally caught up to it. Who knows? I just remember that it had a short report. All right, looking at these movers again. Still waiting for a CYN to unhalt. That should be happening here shortly if we're having a 10-minute halt. ASTI couldn't go any higher, lost the opening print level that we had, and the 9 and 15 EMAs looking like this is heading down towards the 65 EMA. Is also beneath VWAP. VOR rejected at VWAP after popping over it. Beam beneath the 65 EMA. It's not looking good for all these movers this morning. We'll see what happens when CYN unhalts. Black Sky, meanwhile, still printing new highs. Smoke Tuna saying Planet Labs, PL, also moving. Let me look at the watch list again here. How many of these space names are going? So Rocket Lab is up almost 11%. Planet Labs approaching 10%. Black Sky over 17%. A lot of these space names having a good day. A lot of them having a good day.
Yeah, Lion, sorry, I jumped the gun. Apparently that short report was a long time ago. You're the first person I thought of, to be fair, when he said that. Circle, by the way, continuing to go higher here. Tesla, oh boy, Tesla's all over the place. Tesla, initial move right up to 330, then a huge pull, and then we're right back on.
CYN unhalted, it popped up to 1980. And now it's coming back into where it halted, getting support there, trying to turn around.
I was going to say, I wonder if that keeps falling, if it's going to go into a downside halt. VOR, the other stock that we were looking at, this in a downside halt. This lost $1.
Yep. So CYN, if we can hold where it halted at, which was, I think it was what, 1794. This is okay. Looks like we're gonna go for that that EMA, the 65 EMA, $21. Let's see it.
Look at this.
Let's see it.
CYN.
And we're 3 cents short. Don't make me look like a fool.
The CYN halt, by the way, not 7 minutes. It was indeed a full 10-minute halt.
Yeah. All right. It looks like we're going to halt again, just shy of 21. But hey, we got it. We got the movement we were looking for in CYN.
Just bought a few shares of Eco. Let's Lion.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, look at the downside that it's had over the today and yesterday.
To be fair, being down 10% here today, I just don't know. Like I said, I don't know that this is that's a pretty substantial move. Yeah, Lion, I don't hate it. I think he's got the right idea. I think he's playing. I'm sure he's playing this for the bounce. I don't know if he's got. You tell us, Lion. Is this a long-term thing? I'm pretty sure you're just playing for the bounce. I'm pretty sure he's done better buying the leap calls when this happens than buying the short dated calls. That's the one I got murked on.
Well, he said he's buying shares, so
okay.
I don't know if it's for the bounce or long-term. You let us know, Lion. But yeah, that was really nice move in CYN. Loved it. Went right to the 65 EMA. Or is about to touch it out of this halt, whenever that is going to be. Probably like, what, 15 minutes now? So we had a good one. Let's see, what else can we find here? Seeing, hey, you know what, Webcoin? You still had a successful trade, right? And Sean Boyle, well done on CYN. Good job. Seeing Mimi is mentioning BBAI. Red is saying PayPal is knifing at the moment, falling knife at the moment. And Joseph Schmo said AMD pulled back. It also looks like BKSY, Black Sky, is trying to push higher into 2050. Let me look at some of these names. AMD is pulling back. That's great because this thing has been on an absolute tear since April 7th. And what our RSI is 77. I think that this does need to come back into. Let's see it get support at either the 500-day SMA or 133. That would look pretty good to me. It could even go down to 120, and I'd still be fine with it as long as we're holding above the 200 EMA. I'm sorry, SMA.
Here's SRFM is going.
Good stuff. I'm going to look at BBAI because multiple mentions on that one. This is up 8 3/4% today. See where we can figure out where this goes. So
I don't see that on the scanner yet, but let me pull it up here for you, 13. I'm actually going to put this up, and I'm going to walk away for just 1 sec.
No problem. It's just that it's not over 10% yet, so it's not really on one of those movers lists yet where we're looking for 20 to 100%. But let's see where this could go. So okay, so we did run up right into some of the resistance from yesterday around 530. So if you look at 530 and you go to yesterday's chart and in the pre-market, you can see that 530 was a support area following the impulse move in the opening hour of pre-market. And then once we had the regular session going, it could not get that support. We ended up going down to that 480 area. Now we're coming off 480, looking to go and recapture 530 again. So I think that's what we're looking at here. Next resistance I see is, I mean, there's some resistance to chew through here in BBAI after 530. You got potentially 538, 550, and I'd also say 558. All areas of resistance before we even get to 590, where we were topping out yesterday. All right, what else are we looking at here?
Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries at all. Super scam. Your target for CYN is 3077 today or tomorrow. With the way it's moving, I don't think that's entirely out of line at all. I think that we could end up seeing that today.
Which seems insane, but
well, I mean, it's already started to hit stupid levels. So why not go for more dumb levels? Why not? So let me see where this goes next. What else do we have here? I think I can kind of see the spot you're referring to where we go to 33. It's kind of, well, we already filled that gap, so I'm not sure I would lean on that. But there is
Oscar, sorry.
There is a bit of an area at 36. I think I'd be looking at 36. I'm not sure about 33 where that's coming from. That's probably on a different chart that you're getting that. But for me on a daily chart, like 36. All right. Looks like we're unhalted again with CYN. Getting a pull here. Looks like it's going to halt to the downside.
I was going to say, I think that's going to halt again here. I'll bring this up so I can also watch level 2 with you folks. Mm-hmm. This absolutely rehalted here, 1887, this time to the downside.
Yep, and halted. Yep. So
that is the third halt, right? Yes. That is working here. Third halt. Okay.
So that might be what we end up getting out of CYN today, just a halt fest as it tries to rise up to the 33, 36 areas that we're looking for. We'll see what we end up getting. And hey, how about this? VOR, right to the 200 EMA, 85 cents. 84 cents, I'm sorry, 84, 85. Anyway, right down to it. So does it reverse here? I don't know. Now that it's down here, I'm not sure I would want to even touch this. We might get a bounce because the way these head and shoulders patterns resolve, they break down through the neckline. They usually back test that, go lower. They'll hit another area of control from the way up. This is where we're at right now. I would expect a brief bounce before we head lower and resolve I would think maybe we get down to about 65 to 70 cents if we can't reverse here off the 200.
Speaking of heading lower here, the market. So the SPY basically traded up to the high end of the pre-market range and has started to pull back here. The same is true for the NASDAQ and the Dow. They're all pulling off. They're all pulling off of their highs, yet remaining green. Also worth noting here for anyone that's kind of following along here, another move higher here in Home Depot, looking really good. Again, this was based off of a seasonality plus a technical spot combination. Let me go back to that here and pull it up for you. Oh, look at this. They fixed it, 13. Look at this.
Nice.
No freezing, baby. No freezing.
Did you update your drivers?
No, I did update my Oh, that was the other thing. That wasn't it. I'm actually using a different branch here where they're testing the fix, but I did update my drivers. Shout out to you. Thank you for giving me the very specific one. Folks, as far as HD goes here, the other thing that would be great for this potential swing trade that I'm watching is a close above this 363.12. Taking out this 50-day moving average pretty much puts 370 on deck. Remember, the 200-day up here at 387, and the calls that we bought here are the 390 calls. We are actually hoping for a move here from Home Depot up towards this 200-day. So far, so good. This position is actually up 50% right now. So pretty nice swing. Those calls expire in August. So that is continuing to work here again as well. I will sell partial there at 100% as we discussed yesterday. Boom. Michael, glad it's working out. Make sure you have a plan. Don't let the trade go red on you now that you've got 50% gain on that. All right, what else we got here, folks?
Well, BBAI is still hanging out here after reaching 546. Starting to see a little bit of a pull on it. VOR trying to hold above its 200 EMA. Beam came down to its 200 EMA.
Nectar is back, NKTR, this curling up. I'd actually watched these levels from yesterday. It looks like actually this 3382 got tested here, or pull back to the VWAP. We are right at the VWAP right now on Nectar.
We are getting some really big moves in a lot of these space names today. We got Rocket Lab over 14, excuse me, 1.5%. Redwire is up 6. Planet Labs over 11.5% now. Black Sky looking for 20% at 17.2 right now. Looking like we're having some really big moves in the space names. What is the deal? I don't know that it's just off of that one company that got the NASA deal. XIII, I believe it's the one, right? That's
CYN.
Yeah,
the big mover here today.
The big mover. That's the one that had the no, that's the NVIDIA one. ASTI, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know.
No news here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. I mean, this could just be the whole thing just ripping, but I don't know on what. Don't know on what. All right, nice on the profit taking line.
And this ASTI here, this is actually more of a solar name than a space name, but they happen to be having a project here with NASA, which is the other thing that's going on. Eric says that aliens are coming soon. I'm ready for that, honestly. I am ready for that.
Spoke to mentioning SoundHound. That's got a 3% lift here this morning. This looks like it's trying to get up to 10 today, maybe higher. It's kind of putting in a bit of a interesting series of price action over the past couple of days. We'll see if that's what ends up happening. CYN is open and heading lower, dropping beneath 17 now, trying to find some support at 17, it looks like. So this one really coming in now after hitting 21.
Joe here saying, if you see an alien egg, don't open and look inside. I've seen the movie Alien, Aliens, and Independence Day, so I know better than that. I'm more liable to shoot it rather than opening it.
All right, looks like CYN is going to halt again. There it is, halted to the downside some more. Hopefully you guys had your stops out for that one. That was really nice. Went up to 21.
It was, but it was really extended when it was making that move. So it really should have been prudent to take gains on a move like that. We even talked about that. KWE, by the way, this did move through the VWAP up towards 12 there. KWE. I'd also be careful with this one, by the way. That 12 is a consolidation area from the first time that it ran.
VOR lost the 200 EMA, going lower down to the areas I pointed out earlier. Looks like it's going to have a date with 65 soon. So BOR is a poor trade. All right, so BBAI, that's still trying to hold up here, looking for more than 546. I have the next resistance area at 590, so we'll see if we end up getting there. What's the market up to now? So still trying to maneuver its way through these this consolidation of previous all-time highs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. It's working its way through above 2 right now, looking at support from one of them. Could end up being another sideways day here unless we get some significant news in the SPY. This kind of seems that way.
Yeah, Jay mentioning TTD here. I think this is it for that trade. I think this one is over. TTD, this caught a downgrade here this morning, down 4.5%. Wells Fargo downgrading this, lowering the price target to 68. That is probably the death blow on the trade that we were trying to take here. Trade here again, this was obviously a huge move down. We had this impulse move. It kind of settled here. We were hoping for another retest of that high and then maybe into the gap. We are not getting it. Now, that might happen at some point in the future here, but those calls that I bought, at least, were the July contracts. Those expire in 22 days. This thing's dead in the water.
Yeah, Rocket Lab all-time high. So thinking about it, that thing has been awesome. And one of the things that I had drawn here, because I wasn't sure if we were going to get a rejection or a breakthrough. It looks like we're getting a breakthrough. If you look at a daily chart and you draw a trend line from the high of Wednesday, May 28th through the high of June 9th, and keep that going. That's where we just broke that trend line we just broke through today. So if we close above it, we're going to want to see this act as support for more upside.
Lion here says, Ryan, I'm buying more shares of TTD. That might work. The way I ended up buying this one was using calls, and that unfortunately is just not going to work. So not a whole lot I can do there. Shares, obviously, you can sit on that line. You probably get that. TTD totally tanking down. And then that Gratz Big B's dipping your toe into circle there, huh? At least you're not getting burned. This thing is pretty volatile. Kathy's been, I believe, crushing this one recently.
It's a pretty interesting support area just under 200 that it hit. Rebounding, but I still think this is a little extended. Okay, so BBAI still hanging in there. Wis, you're saying ASTI is curling? Oh yeah. Let's see a recapture of that VWAP. We got close to it out of the open here, but faced a huge rejection. I have VWAP at 313. Looks like VOR is trying to recapture the 200 as well. If we're starting to see some positivity in these movers and they're trying to turn around, I would imagine that after the CYN unhalts, we try to see that one do the same as well.
SRFM, this about to test 350 here. Interestingly enough, this was a halt yesterday, right? And this broke down from this 350 level yesterday. This actually an important spot here.
Yeah, I see that exactly. What you're talking about that one green candle on the way down here, the halt down. You see that gap there?
Right here.
That bottom of that candle is where we just ran up to at 350.
Yep.
So that's a gap fill. Well, it could, if you're considering the lows. Looks like it really wants to go higher. Sorry.
I was going to say, this to me does look like this is going to try and break and go higher there.
Jake Wilder mentioning CYN 1548 open if 5-minute halt. I don't think it's going to be a 5-minute halt. It's been longer than that. It's going to we're going to see it's going to be longer than 10 minutes because we've already had a few halts in this today. And here we go. We just unhalted. Looking like it's going lower.
It's coming into VWAP, yeah.
What a great call. That went right to, it opened at 1548, went down to 1523, and is trying to turn around. Great call. But I don't know if it's going to recapture some of these levels. It's still, the MACD still doesn't look great to me. And it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Damn, Izzy bought SRFM at 240 yesterday and then held it? Held one of those crappy movers? You got rewarded for doing that. Good stuff there. Oldie but goodie, VKTX trading higher on news the start of a phase 3 trial. So VKTX, this has been interesting. I'm pretty sure here, let me take a look at this real quick. So here's your VKTX daily chart. When we talked about this one a lot when it was trading up here, really when it broke down, we kind of took it off the radar. Does look like it's kind of basing down here. Still a possible takeover target. The news, the Novo Nordisk, HIMSS news, that might affect that negatively. I still think this is a potential takeover target, but the one thing to also consider here, short interest continues to grow on VKTX. 30.42% of the float shorted. That comes on 8.49 days to cover, and that comes on nearly 4 million shares of volume. So this thing is absolutely a squeeze potential if you get more of this really positive news about any of the weight loss drugs or how much money the company is making. I don't have a position on this. Again, I still think there's a potential takeover target here, but also extremely high short interest on this one. Big bear hug. So you get any good news out of those trials, that might be a squeezer.
CYN pushing higher, trying to get back over 18. Seems like it's having a little bit more of a difficult time now that there's more folks paying attention to this, probably more sellers. Still don't want to discount that it could go higher. I just I think the good moves that we could trade may have been have already happened, but we'll see what we end up getting here. It's still pushing up. It might halt again too if it continues to do this.
I would say if it probably halts or really can't get much higher than, maybe 1950, you're going to have a pretty steep intraday trend line that you're going to be battling there. Plus, this is going to be right around the gap area. NVIDIA calls coming in, coin calls coming in. Lion, I took profits on coin. It runs big. I think it may pull back. You got any targets on that, Lion? Because here's the coin daily chart here. I'll tell you what, a pullback and hold at 350 would be really good for this long term, I feel like.
All right. Looks like we're getting a little lift in some of the names, only to be met with some selling. CYN still trying to get above, looks like 1887.
Tiger T says, how was the news? Tiger T, I think you're asking about the pending home sales. Am I right on that? Question mark. USA pending home sales month over month for May, 1.8% versus the 2/10 estimate. Nice beat there. USA pending home sales index for May, 72.6 versus 71.3 prior read. So both of those numbers actually positive there. How's Rocket responding to that?
Looks like it's slightly positive.
No, Rocket is going lower. RKT is going lower. That stock is down 1.5% here today. Damn, this thing was on a big move. Yesterday was tough. Today, more downside.
Well, I mean, it looks like we're coming down to the 200-day SMA. That 1405. I imagine that's going to provide some support.
Yep, we'll see.
But I was looking at the some of this. Premium in the calls, it looked like they were rising, but not by much.
Okay.
SPY, meanwhile, looking for 610. I want to talk about getting a little extended here. I was even thinking that with the candle we had yesterday, we'd be seeing a reversal, but here we are grinding higher. All right.
SRFM, nice trade there, Izzy. After the big pullback yesterday, good stuff there.
beam back up to a 65 EMA. I'm not sure we're going to see a recapture or not. It kind of has a bit of a bear flag formation happening here out of the open.
Ryan, I bought coin when it went to 170. Now it's at 370. Yeah, 200 points. That's a big winner, Lion. Big winner. Knowles, all y'all ignoring time of day. Sorry, what are you trying to get at there? What are we missing from that?
The time of day that we're focused on is going to be 10:30, which we're not at yet. 10:30 is typically when we see the volume really start to dry up in the market after the morning movers. All right, looks like CYN trying to go higher now, pushed over 18 into 19 now. Get the sense that at some point this could, blast off really quick, but I don't know if it's going to happen at 21 or if it's going to happen after that. Just be careful with CYN. This thing moves very, very quickly. It looks like no, that's not far away enough. Looks like some of these names are starting to top out. I saw a question earlier about Micron. After the wonderful earnings it had with the amazing guide, why it's selling off. This thing is really overextended. I mean, before we opened today, it was like what, at 130? I think that was the high. No, just 15 cents short of that. This represents a 108% move off the April lows. That's massive. We are getting a golden cross in this as well. I do believe we are eventually going to see more upside, but from April to now, this thing has been on a massive run. It's very extended. I think it needs to cool off. I'd like to see this come down and get some support around 113, 114. That's about where the 20-day SMA is. I think that'd be decent enough, cooling off for it to move higher afterwards. But I think it really does need to come off these highs and kind of go a little bit lower, maybe to chill that RSI level out some more. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Real quickly here, SRFM, this made that impulse move to 350. It's flagging here. This actually might go through 350 again. Amanda, good morning. Nice to see you again. You're short Micron at 130.
Nice.
So that's already working here. I tell you what, that 130 pre-market level, we really weren't able to get above that. One of the things here, 13, you kind of just talked about this, but one of the things we had mentioned here on Micron earlier, I actually led with a Micron earnings story here. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I highlighted is how much this has been up. This thing from the April the Liberation Day low prior to this move down here, this stock was up 112% in the matter of just a couple of months. So profit taking here seems absolutely normal. It's definitely what I would do. Yep. Hang on one sec.
No problem. Looks like Marvell, popped this morning up to 80.58, came down, got some support from the 65 EMA, trying to recapture VWAP now. If it does that, it looks like we could see 80 print again. There was another one I was going to look at too. I can't remember what it was. I think somebody was mentioning SNES. Izzy, you were saying SNES news is huge. Container from Hong Kong.
Now, SNES, that was one of the recent winners that we had. So is this more continuation? Because remember, SNES, we talked about that news that came out that you tweeted me, Izzy, and this thing moved. Looks like we're having some more on this.
Golden Cross.
The rodent birth control.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe that this is a theme, rodent birth control, but it is.
Yeah, this is, geez. Where does this stop? Okay, so the death cross, when, last time the 50 and the 200 had a date, was back in April of 2021. This whole time we've been in this death cross. Now we are finally getting a golden cross. So I think this is pretty significant. It's like these are, they're foreign to each other at this point with how long they've gone without seeing each other.
Sorry, which stock are you on? I'm
SNES.
Okay, that's the one I still have here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the daily.
Gotcha. And you're probably looking at it on a bigger chart with all the different moving averages, which is why I got so confused.
Yeah, I was still talking about the Golden Cross. I'm only ever, usually talking about Golden Cross on daily charts. But $5, that looks like the next resistance area to me.
That's what Izzy says. $5 next level. Locked in.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Yeah, because you look at a daily chart, that last move we had in December took us right up to the 200 SMA. And that print, the high of that day was $5 exactly. I like $5 for SNES. All right. Meanwhile, CYN kind of going sideways here, trying to figure out if it wants to recapture 21 or if it wants to break down. But mostly sideways price action here. Still between 17 and 18 for the time being. Kind of in that area I was mentioning earlier. Wow, QS, despite having a massive float, this thing is still moving up. Hit 651.
Nice little breakout there.
Yeah, 652. I'm sorry. This is one of the levels that I had marked off here. The next one's going to be 730. Might run into some resistance prior to that, around $7 exactly. It's a psych level. But 7. What's up?
I'm just our chat is awesome. Super Nintendo Entertainment System is back. Do you have any idea how many hours I lost to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System? Amanda says, if you guys don't stop saying SNES, I'm going to quit for the day and boot up Donkey Kong Country. Oh, that's good. I was wondering why there were groups of rats protesting. I'm sorry, 13. You were trying to be serious, and I totally distracted you by laughing at our awesome chat.
I just know that if I start talking about the SNES, that's all the show's going to be. So I have to kind of temper that.
Kathy, thoughts on TSSI? This is Ryan Milligan's stock du jour, as I like to call it. This was a huge winner. Let's go back to the daily chart. Here, look, we still have drawings. We still have drawings from where we were trying to figure out where a good buy area would be. Yeah, looks like we had that flagged correctly here at 12.5. Look at this move here. I can't chase this move, Kathy. I have to wait for pullbacks on this.
Chat's going to do it to me. Listen, Blaze Rhino. Tecmo Bowl was the original SNES, or was the original Nintendo, not the SNES.
Take that.
But best game on SNES. Gosh, that's a tough one because I think I liked
Mario Kart.
No, I was just playing that last night with my boys. The new one on the Switch too.
I'm actually a little jealous of that, but whatever.
I destroyed them, of course.
Of course.
For SNES, I liked Link to the Past. The Star Fox that they had for that was special. But I don't think anything compares on the SNES like it does to the Nintendo 64. That was the console of consoles.
By the way, someone mentioned AV earlier. Look where we're at. This is clearly a resistance area. Might be a time for a short on a regression back to a mean there. Smoke Tuna says, Ryan, let me test your French. This is going to end up in embarrassment for me. What is the translation of what you said? What is it that I said? I have a tough time with that one. Yeah, GoldenEye. That's N64, though. That's not SNES. GoldenEye's one of the best games of all time.
Big bear hug. And James Bond, GoldenEye on Nintendo 64. Absolutely. I still can't. Nothing's going to dethrone my favorite N64 game, Ocarina of Time. That's just my favorite one.
Nothing wrong with that.
I could list a whole bunch of absolutely awesome games that came on there.
That's for you, 13.
Oh, thank you. And one thing that I have to say that goes against Mario Kart, I feel like a lot of too much attention was put onto that. It really threw F-Zero under the radar, and I think F-Zero is a better racing game. Sorry for the hot take. I think F-Zero.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's racing is about just racing. Anytime you're throwing shells and banana peels out the car, you do something else. Real quickly here, CYN is open and it is trying to find some support off that 15 EMA that we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely, Amanda. But yeah, gosh, what was the game I was just talking about? Anyway. Ocarina of Time. Yeah, best game. There was also the Star Fox. Oh, F-Zero X. That was the game. That was, man, the soundtrack, the courses. I feel like F-Zero doesn't get enough attention. Anyway.
Hey, 13. Your space theme is now affecting every space stack.
Excellent.
Every time that you said that earlier, I was like, no, it's not making the whole sector go, but I don't want to make this sound like sour grapes, so I'm just not going to say anything. Voyager now spiking finally on volume. Let me tell you something, folks. I've stood in this one. I was definitely too early on this. I definitely should have waited, like taken the CoreWeave plan and waited multiple days before buying. But I've actually been slowly adding, sometimes in 5 and 10 share lots, just to make sure that I get my dollar cost average down here on this one. Voyager, let's have this take off and go to the moon. No pun intended. Smoke Tuna, Ryan, stock du jour. Is that good? Du jour. You let me know. You let me know. And then we can try Pete's here too. Je t'aime les home TDS. Let me know how I pronounce that, Smoke Tuna, if that was any good.
Speaking of space names, looks like Black Sky is recapturing its VWAP. Watch for some expanding volume here. CYN, this looks like it's going to try and push up. So we got resistance at about 1950. That's the next spot I think we need to push through here on this move.
Here we go on Black Sky. We'll see if this consolidates here around 20. Oh, it was perfect. Smoke Tuna says that was perfect. Let's go. See, I did take French earlier. I'm not good at it, and I don't claim to be able to speak it, but I did take it in a formal setting. I also tried to self-train Japanese based off of a video game.
Here we go with CYN. Look, it just pulled a little bit there. I was like, oh, it's starting to move over 19 into the 20 area. But this thing is just, it's so spready that it just moves around a lot. Like we're looking at 40 to 50 cent spreads on this thing.
On CYN?
Yeah. Here we go. All right, now it's taking it. There we go.
I'm going to watch this level 2 with you.
Dang it. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm going to watch. I mean, it sounds to me like this level 2 is crazy. So it's clearly stopping here with this.
Yeah.
Is it actually 1943 or am I getting that number wrong?
I'm looking at 1950.
Okay.
1950 is the level I'm putting out there. We already got one rejection. It was at 1940. So you're probably more accurate on that. This candle that we're in right now. I found it. 1955 is the actual price level in there that has the highest volume stick. Okay, so I wonder how that actually lines up. 1940 was that first one. We just traded up to 1945. Okay, so we didn't quite get there. So 1955 did have some pretty significant volume traded at that price. Yeah, so if we get the because look at the volume, we need probably a lot better volume than this. Oh, we just took it, I think. No. See, that's the thing. It takes out that level, and then it just gets pulled right back underneath it. We need to see this hold. Now we're actually starting to get some better prints here above 1955.
So we still here. So Smoke Tuna, first of all, said that this one might head fake us earlier, and it does look like it's kind of doing that. I would love to see this volume expand here because I think that absolutely puts this high in here. That actual number 2118.
Yeah. Well,
Mesro, you are not blocked. I only see one message from you. You're not blocked. You haven't done anything to get blocked.
Yeah, if we missed something that you said, sorry about that. It was, we've been having a lot of different conversations. I'm trying to go back and see what you were saying. See what I missed here.
Is your chat working in Restream today? It's not doing something dumb?
I could have sworn I saw a post from him earlier. I don't remember what the post was. But, post it again. We'll see if we can address what you were asking.
Hood. So this is interesting. This pulled back a little bit yesterday, but this coming right back on here. CYN, by the way, stopped just shy of 20 right there.
Yeah, no closes over in 1950. Still provided some decent trading, though. Black Sky.
NVIDIA.
All right, go ahead.
I was going to say NVIDIA. I know we had maybe a little bit of profit taking here. This right back to basically where we opened here. The pre-market high only $1 higher than this. Watch NVIDIA. We actually might see this go higher. People have been buying and repeat buying these calls all morning on NVIDIA. That's the 155. I almost wonder if 160 has like some type of call wall or magnet in it.
Daniel, fun fact, you made some good money. Oh, Ryan Couch. Okay. So Conker's Bad Fur Day was probably the one game that I think all the Nintendo adults were waiting for. That game was hilarious. I don't think I probably put a lot more hours into the versus mode than I probably should have, but it was just too good. The World War II theme and you know, squirrels versus teddy bears, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I actually feel like I'm missing out because I don't have any idea what the hell you guys are talking about. By the way, VIX continuing to melt, 1646 here. The low print that we had was 1642. One of the things we mentioned in happy hour yesterday, 12 to 13 seems to be that area. If the VIX gets down there, likes to bounce. That would mean a market sell-off here. By the way, S&P futures really kind of turning things around here. I've got a high on the SPY at 609.67. And then I have S&P futures high here, 61.73. Good breath today, too, across the market there.
We are seeing VOR recapturing its VWAP. The next resistance area is going to be the 65 EMA. I have that at just under 105.
Which ticker, sorry?
VOR.
VOR?
This is trying to, it looks like this is trying to go positive here. MACD is curling, so just waiting to see what we end up getting out of this one. It is currently under $1. So a recapture of $1 might allow this to trade better. Yeah, there you go, Scott. Exactly. Clawing back to $1. It's trying to do that right now.
Smoke Tuna says, growing up, I saw kids addicted to gaming, so I decided never to play video games. I don't have any problem with someone deciding not to play video games. I loved them a lot. They did a lot of good things for me when I went through some bad periods in my life, just helping me get my mind off things. But they are huge time sinks, and I totally understand that. Mm-hmm. What I will say here is unbelievable personality by you. When I was a kid, dude, I would do all of the wrong things. Waste time, bad decisions. That was like my middle name as a kid. So shout out to you, Tuna.
Yeah, video games are good, cheap, fun. You can either sink hours into those or sink hours into getting in trouble and doing other stuff, going to bars.
I mean,
get me out of trouble.
Me too. I'm like thinking like, what stories here are safe? And I'm just like, just don't tell any of them. You were a bad kid when you were younger. Hopefully we learned the hard way.
I don't think I played video games as a kid as much as I did when I was a teenager. When I was still a kid, I went outside a whole bunch.
Me too. And I actually played hockey, both unorganized and organized when I was younger. That really cut into my video game time. Once college came, though, that was a different story. Rocket Lab bull flagging here. 37 would be a breakout spot. We actually have a pretty decent intraday trend line here on the 5-minute chart as well on Rocket Lab. So we'll watch that, see if that has any more strength. Up 13% here. CYN, by the way, this is it's rolling over a little bit, but it's refusing to break down, and it looks like it's kind of being held higher here. I want to be careful with this one because I do think that this one has the potential to really all of a sudden start ripping to the downside or falling off to the downside here and then kind of evaporating any type of gains. But we'll see here on CYN.
You know, here's a hot take. I think Rocket Lab could see 50 this year. Just based on the way it's trading, the whole space theme, the competition in space. We're having a lot more countries enter the space race. There's increased competition from China. I mean, there's a lot of things to like about the whole space theme. One thing that I'm looking for about where this goes, and this is why I think we could see 50 this year, draw a trend line from November 29th, 2024 through January 24th, 2025, and keep that trend line going. That's where I think the price might find resistance if we once we
November of 2024 through the January. I think I see the two highs that you were talking about.
That's them. Yep. There you
go. 1 second.
So I'd certainly see Rocket Lab having the potential to get up there. It is getting pretty extended, so there
All
are
right,
going to have to
sorry
be some.
about
No
that.
problem. There are going to have to be some pullbacks on the way up to 50 with Rocket Lab, but I mean, just look where it was earlier this month, like a week ago. This thing was like $10, lower. So, I do like Rocket Lab.
Uber, indeed. This is a nice $1 move from that open. And you know what's interesting here, Izzy? This basically traded higher in the pre-market, back tested where it closed, held, and then started to rip.
Thanks for that info, Tess. Poland had its first astronaut get on the space station this morning.
Now, Tess, were you saying earlier that anytime there's a successful space station docking, that likes to maybe kick up the space stocks? Did I see that scroll by earlier?
That's entirely possible because a lot of these names that we're seeing move do have a lot of their products up there. Black Sky is one of them.
Yeah.
So anytime that the space has success, that's certainly something to keep in mind. That's a great point, Tess. All right, what else is making some moves? Looks like there's a lot of sideways action right now.
Yeah, there is. So Home Depot came in a little bit. Apple came back into 200. Actually, just let's watch and see if it holds 200 there. Tesla seems to be kind of discovering its price here around 330. It's a little bit lower than 330. Costco's selling off. What happened on Costco? Welcome to Costco.
Rejection of the 50, maybe. Okay, here we go. VOR trying to get through VWAP here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Still watching for a capture of the VWAP. It's past 10 minutes. It's been made 2 visits up here. Not able to capture it yet, though.
Yeah, Lion mentioning here on SPY. So just to reiterate for those that didn't catch my SPY breakdown, which was the first thing that I do out of the gate here, we're one of two things here is going to happen, Lion. Not to play both sides here, but one of two things is going to happen. You're absolutely right. We're very, very close to the all-time high. That value 613.23. This is what the chart looks like, right? So the tariff uncertainty that freaked everyone out and caused the panicans to lose a bunch of money. This has actually come all the way back up towards that area here. Oh, did I just move? Did you just do that like an idiot?
No. Hit Control Z. Hit Control Z.
Oh, I knew. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, 613.23 here. This is either going to be a breakout spot or this is going to be a resistance. So place your bets. I do think if we end up trading above this, especially if we consolidate under that area, and then all of a sudden we get a big piece of news or something like that, this thing's going to run past that. You're going to get a blue sky breakout and a run here. If it does not have the strength to do that, I think we could start coming into some of these moving averages or maybe even the trend line. By the way, CYN back on here near those 1955 $20 highs here.
No.
Watching CYN volume also starting to tick up here in this last 5-minute window.
And
no position for me on CYN, by the way, just to be clear.
Next, previous all-time high in the SPY that we're currently trying to get over here is 609.77. So we're there right now. After that, I have 610.78. But let me take a look at a daily chart here because I felt like this was... No, we're not really that too extended. We are getting there, but I think we could still go higher before we are at risk of being overextended. So certainly could see the previous all-time high before there's a reversal. I don't want to say that that's going to be the case because we could see market's still very news-driven. So,
yeah, 1955 here. We just crossed it on CYN. We'll see if it's building here. I'm still keeping an eye on it. Lion is saying my point here is to take profit. So this is a good point. Whether or not, I mean, I think if you're in a trade right now, it makes sense to sell your longs at resistance areas or at least partial, right? Like take some gains on that at a resistance area. Totally agree there.
I'm a little concerned about CYN. Look at the past 4 or 5 candles here. We've been seeing the volume get lower and lower.
Yep. Okay. So they just pushed it to 20. They're hitting it. They're taking it, but not all of it. There's more up there. Gone. Pop right through. Big time. Almost $1. Holy cow.
That was a big level there, $20.
Yeah, it sure was. 21.18 going to be the next one. The high of this candle here. Where is that? Where are you?
So we just barely went over that high, the $21 high. 2104 is the new high.
2187 is what I have as that high print.
From what?
From the bust through 20.
You have
2080.
Oh, 2087.
Excuse me, 2097 now. Yep, 2097. There were 500,000 shares that traded at 2097. Bang, through 21. Now. Holy cow. I don't have this one, so I'm cheering for you guys. I didn't feel good about this. I was wrong. This is going to halt here at 2159.
And it's halted.
Dude, that was some impressive flow. And I'll tell you what, the volume sticks on my broker look a little bit different. The volume stick in this 5-minute window, second only to that impulse move on the open.
QS also blasting over 650, looking at 674 now. All right,
oh, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to look at the Twitter streets here.
All right, we're almost at 610 on the SPY. Big bear hug, you're jumping into leap calls on Rocket? Oh, buddy.
I like to hear that. We've been in leap calls for a little bit.
We do like them leap calls.
Which striking expert did you take, Big Bear Hug? Let me know. Do you have a next level here for CYN 13?
Let's see here.
I sure don't.
I'm going to have to use some previous levels.
Yeah, I was going to say, here, I've got one for you here. This was a previous gap that has already been filled, so figure that. I've got 2280 as that high spot. And then after that, I think you're looking at 2760. So 2280 and 2760.
Let's see if I can find something on a smaller time frame here.
Bull is moving? Sorry, 13. Get in there if you need to.
All right.
Because the reason that caught my eye here is because we actually talked about bull yesterday. And that had gapped up and gave everything back. Now it looks like it's trading pretty much right back to where it closed on Tuesday. I think we need something material to happen here for bull to really make a run, honestly.
A bull run?
A bull run, right. I mean, look, we already played that out, right? Like the IPO of a ticker named bull went higher. That should have been a surprise to exactly nobody. But to make another bullish run, we're going to need something.
There's an interesting area in CYN at about 2250. So that would be another area to watch for. I'm looking at an hour chart and just trying to see where the price action changes.
Super Scam saying to use the weekly for CYN to get targets. So here's your weekly. Let me zoom in and try and grab some of those here for you. You know what? Let me actually make this a little bit easier here. See what happens with these EMAs. They get so crazy. There we go. Oh, man. The scale is so wild on this. Why is this such a struggle bus for me?
Let me see here what we got for the weekly.
So, Super Scam, do you have 36 as another level? 36? Let me know. Amanda's doing covered calls on bull. Okay, I could see why that would work.
So I would say if after 2250, 2685 would be another area. But when I look at this weekly chart, there's very few areas I can really draw on for levels. It looks like 36 is going to be one based on this weekly chart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 36, because I'm basically looking at this 13, this area right in here. The low of this candle is exactly 36. The high of this other candle here that looks ominous was 43.42.
I'm thinking 2250, 2685, and then that 36.
I think this is what he's talking about. Look at the gap and the 50 cent the wick. That's not English, but it's an attempt.
The gap.
Yeah, see, Brian here saying splits make my daily unusable. I'm battling the same problem here, Brian. Thinkorswim is very much like this too, but you can actually drag the axis, the vertical axis here, and it will allow you to kind of zoom in there. It's just you have to remember to reset the chart. I don't know. I that 36 and then the top end of this candle here, 2280. Those look pretty decent to me.
CYN is open. It just blasted through 2250. Looking for the 20. That other value that I had, 2685, I believe is what it was. Basically, it's the 15 EMA on the weekly. That's what I would be looking at next. But I'm not sure what you're referring to about the gap and the 0.5 wick. You're talking about a 50 cent wick? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Besides, this gap has already been filled.
Here, he's talking about the 50 cents on the February 10th wick from this year. Yeah. So this is open. If you want to go back and do that, that's fine here. STYN, this is trying to go. High print that I have here, 2345. Looks like it's trying to trade back up there. I've actually created an intraday gap here on CYN.
So February 10th, if I'm looking at a weekly, that's an intra-week day. So I'm only going to get the week of the 7th. That wick, that high was 2280. I guess I'm still not following along with what you're saying. I don't see what you're referring to. Sorry.
I'm trying to go through the chat here real quick. What did we miss? Anything? SRFM filling the gap. That was actually a fairly good one earlier. Did that keep going? Yeah, this is still grinding here. It did fill the gap, the yesterday intraday gap. It's still grinding here. Who else was on SRFM today? Somebody else was on this.
Looks like multiple people were on it because that was a mover from, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, time to go back to a different chart.
Okay, really quick here. Let me get you this real fast. No guest today, no all access today, so the show is going to be full length. Coming up after the show, though, Izzy was in. That's what it was. Mama Bear, Izzy, and I think Brittany. I think there are a number of you folks that are trying SRFM. Okay, good stuff. And that actually,
Bitcoin with some big moves. Bitcoin with a big move here 5 minutes ago.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wait a sec. What's that doing for coin? Because that's another one of the stocks that folks wanted to take a look at here. Okay, so maybe not a whole lot of anything yet. Coin not really responding to that. Real quick, let me get through this here without interruption. Coming up at 11 at the end of this show here, we're diving into the world of leverage and inverse ETFs with the direction boys that we've had on here. Whether you're looking to amplify your trades or hedge market moves, this session will break it all down. So learn how active traders use these tools, the risks, the rewards, and what you need to know. Don't miss it. Stay here. It's right around the corner. These ETFs have become more and more prominent in our regular trading. The direction guys are awesome with their time and information. Be sure to check that out if you're interested in any of that.
I'm liking the different folks saying that they got out of CYN with a profit here. Mama Bear at 22.33. We got Tommy O out of his. He got stopped out at 21.11. Great stuff, guys. Also, VOR pushed back over $1, trying to hold on to it as it makes its way through its 65 EMA. Haven't quite got up to that level yet. It looks like that's at a 103, 104. So looks like just a little bit more volume will help push us over it. But we are above $1 again in VOR. Trying to hold it. CYN halted to the downside now. BBAI still trying to get over 550. Next resistance I have up there after 550 is going to be the 590 level.
Direction Boys, is that like One Direction? No, it's not. It's not cheesy teen pop music. It's actually information that we can make money off of. Maybe the next time I have him on, maybe I'll make a One Direction joke and see if they like that.
QuantumScape with having a much better day today than it did yesterday.
Lion, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And I'll tell you what, this QuantumScape is basically just pushing to the highs.
Yeah, I mean, the level I'm watching for is 731 or 730, but it's trading much better during the regular session than it did yesterday. I mean, you only got the move in the after hours the day before, and didn't really do a whole lot in the regular session except kind of go sideways. We're hitting highs that we haven't seen since, gosh. I guess it's not as long ago as I thought, but it's still the last year that we're hitting.
Caddyshack, it's Caddyshack. Does anyone remember the rating service Tim mentioned yesterday? I think it was something like Kaspersky. I don't off the top of my head, but I just sent him an email asking him. He's pretty good at responding quickly. So if I get an answer there for you, Caddyshack, I'll get that for you before we end the show here. Also, if I don't get it to you before we end the show here, show up tomorrow and remind me. He will definitely give. Tim Melvin's one of the best people at getting back to you. If you reach out to him, you will get a response. You can set your watch to it. So, Caddyshack, if I don't get that for you here today, be sure to show up tomorrow.
Yeah, Izzy, I think Google just might, be trying. Here's the thing: we're at we're trying to recapture the 200-day SMA for today and yesterday. It looks like we're getting a bit of rejection there. I also have a trend line that we are trying to get over that is also providing rejection. So maybe we do pull off of this level a little bit, but still going to look at the 50-day SMA as support if it comes back down there. But yeah, you're right. It kind of is a bit of a boring day today for Google. Not doing a whole lot right now, anyway.
And I do like this long term too. One of the things that I'm waiting, I don't know if you just talked about this 13 because I was doing something here. I am definitely waiting for a cross of this trend line. I think eventually we do end up crossing this to the upside.
Tommy, my most of mine is made from longer term investments. I do make money doing this, but this is more for pocket change, fun stuff.
Yeah, Tommy, I would concur. My results are similar to 13 here. I would say I make the most long term. Taking a long term approach, I make the most amount of money on my investments because things that I invest in for a long term, I'm hoping for a 10x move on the equity, not on options. So we're talking about bigger sums there. I'm better and more consistent at swing trading. So I just do better there. Day trading, I make the least amount of money on. Now it's the most fun in some cases. It's active every single day. Some days can be really good, but I've been punished a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes day trading. And I really don't think that, I really do think it's the hardest of the three. I really do believe that. Maybe I'm in the minority there, but I would say long-term investing, swing trading, and day trading in that order, day trading being the least. Also, just to be very, very clear here, I obviously have a 9-to-5 job along with this. So I preach this to everybody. Try to add multiple income streams to yourself. So even if you're really good at trading, add something else on the side. It's amazing how much easier trading becomes when you're not focused on surviving off of every single penny that you make from trading stocks back and forth. Just my own opinion there.
FCX is continuing to rise, and this is a gap up that we've had here today with this one. There's a trend line here that we can draw to get an idea of where this may end up going, and I certainly believe it could get up here. I'm looking at 47, the 4750 area. That could be a breakout trend line. So if you start with the high from May 20th last year, 2024, draw it through the September high last year, and keep that going, that's the trend line I think we're going to break at some point soon this year. Oh, nice. Thank you, Izzy. Planet Labs calls are coming in. Love it when the space theme does well. All right, let me look at some of these other movers from this morning. VOR kind of sideways, still having a hard time getting over the 65 EMA, lost $1.
Jay, real quickly here, Ryan, before I go, Ryan, what's the date the trade talk period will end with China?
Aren't they all on July 9th? Or
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it was July 9th or July 4th. That's for everybody. It wasn't specific to China. I can hear your keyboard typing the same thing that I'm looking for. July 9, I win.
Well, we already got it, right?
Yep, I'm don't care. I'm taking the dub.
Okay, fine.
Love you to death, 13. I'm just kidding around. Anyway, July 9 is that deadline. Thank you, Izzy.
Yep. Jay Pert said QS is ripping. We know it. We've been checking this one out. Looks like it just hit 705. Still looking for that 730 print. That's the next resistance area that I got.
Rhett here saying, I'm shy on space stocks due to good old Virgin Galactica. That's going to be ticker SPCE. I actually feel really bad for people on this one because this was so hot that this was moving. There was so much talk about this Richard Branson.
I never liked it.
God,
I never liked it.
This one felt dirty. Now, Rhett, I do feel bad for not only you but anyone that ended up getting hurt on this one. I just kind of short-term traded this one. I don't even think I have anything to brag about here. But what I will say is that I also kind of felt shy on some of the space stocks, largely because a lot of them ran. And then I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try this new IPO that one of my buddies, has kind of been talking about, told me, hey, keep an eye on this. I was like, I'm going to try this one. And you know how that went? Yeah, not good. Not good. Started buying this in the 50 handle. Here we are down at 45. Wow. Thankfully, I've brought my cost basis in and we're having a really good day here today. So I feel you on the shyness for some of the space stocks. You're not alone, brother. You are not alone.
And well done, Izzy, when you were trading that. I do remember when this, Virgin Galactic was absolutely the hot thing to be, owning.
Me too, dude.
I was looking at that company and I was thinking the entire time, there's nobody that's going to be consistently paying to do this. I never saw any benefit to the business model. I've never liked it. Let me just put it to you that way. I've never liked it. I like a lot of these other space names. I've been bullish on space since last year. I think this is going to be a great year for space. I just only have Virgin Galactic on there because it's in that theme. I don't expect anything big from that company.
And you're absolutely right. It seems like, the space tourism. Okay. I can see, wealthy folks that can afford that going on that once.
Yeah. How well did it turn out when we sent up all those women on the Blue Origin rocket? I think that ended up being a PR nightmare, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I don't like Virgin Galactic. I don't.
No, that's a good subject change there, Big Bear Hug. We do have a large insider sale on Carvana. Let's take a look at that.
Remember, insider sales, there could be any number of reasons why they do that. It's the buys where there's only one reason they do that.
Yeah. So let's take a look at these insiders. We've got a lot of selling here with this one. Looks like Ernest Garcia has just been absolutely ringing the register on this for the entire month of June. So he frequently sells.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about the frequent selling there, 13. Here's the other thing. To put these sales in perspective, these recent ones that you're talking about, he started with 1.776 million shares. And after all of this crazy selling, he has a very paltry 1.747 million shares. This barely dented his holdings. The sales that he did here today barely dented it.
Oh, thinking about it, you want to see a real difference in brain power? Watch Katy Perry and Neil deGrasse Tyson have a conversation. That was probably one of the largest, most hilarious gaps in intelligence I've ever seen on TV.
I can't even. I'm not even going to comment on that.
That's fine. I'll do all the commenting. She's an idiot.
Oh, 13. You can tell that vacation is coming, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Hey, in less than 12 hours, I'll be on a plane.
A Boeing? Just kidding. Peter says, what exactly is insider to you?
It'll come down one way or the other.
Okay, you made that joke, not me. I wasn't even trying to do that. Well, here's what Peter's saying. What exactly is insider to you? So this is actually a really good question, and I'd like to know if anyone has a different or more specific definition. To me, an insider is anybody that has access to material information that the public doesn't have access to. So obviously the C-suite executives, but even if they have an assistant or an intern, not that they would, but if they have somebody that's preparing consolidated financial documents that has access to information that's not public, that information is inside information or an insider.
And they even include large owners to be insiders because they have that leverage to make decisions or influence decisions and changes within the company. That's and necessarily they aren't employed by the company, but they have such a large stake in the company that they have influence, so they consider them an insider.
Yeah, but it's a good question.
Yeah, Lion, don't worry. I'm sure everything will be just fine. It's just, I'm never going to miss opportunity to make a joke about Boeing.
Can you imagine 13 going down his aisle with like an infrared light, like inspecting the actual window there, and be like, well, Lion told me
to. Want to do that. I would have a lot of other things to worry about with the black light inspection on the aisle there.
Oh, we're having a really good day here today.
Yeah, making the most of it for sure.
But even with the Home Depot pullback a little bit, still having a really good day. This is encouraging.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that day is going to be coming to an end in about how much time do I have? 10 minutes, or are we cutting it earlier?
11 minutes. We're not cutting it early at all, but we do have a hard stop right at 11, so we've got 11 minutes. Jonathan Cooper, Ryan, do we think we will hit an all-time high on the SPY by the end of the week? That means we need to print 613.24 or higher by the end of day tomorrow. No, I don't think that's going to happen. We're currently sitting here at 610. I would imagine that we probably don't go much higher than the resistance to pivot that we're currently sitting at right now. And tomorrow, I wouldn't. What do we have any humongous data? Oh, damn it.
Did I just throw your whole?
Yes, because I thought that was next week. Son of a bee. I was thinking to myself, we're going to have not that much of a Friday. So now I actually have to make a call on this.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting week next week because we are going to have the end of the month. That's going to be on the 30th, Monday. So we'll have some window dressing likely for that. And we also have a shortened week because July 4th is going to be on Friday. So yay for long weekends. But at the same time, boo for short weeks. Anyway, so that's a couple of things we got coming up here to keep in mind about the and when it comes to this run up into July 4th, the volume does tend to be a lot less. So there could be some pretty volatile moves, like a lot of illiquid price action in this next week. So could be an interesting week next week. Just saying, even if the volume is going to be a little bit lower, I think we could see some pretty wild movement.
He's making me make I'm going to do it. Do I think we print new all-time highs by EOD tomorrow, Jonathan? Clip it. Get ready. Play it back in my face if I'm wrong. Yes, I do think that. Yes, I'll make the call. We print higher than 613.23 by EOD tomorrow. Yes, I do think we do that.
One thing to keep in mind is that got to look at some of these moves we've had intraday on the in these recent sessions. Look at this Monday. Look at how much move we got there. We got what is this? A 5, almost 6 point move. We got 2.5 point move yesterday. Certainly could, if we closed up here around 610, we certainly could see the all-time high tomorrow. Certainly. I'm not going to make any call. I don't know what PC is going to exactly have for us, but I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility. Tesla is really in an endless fight. What is Tesla doing right now? Did that continue lower?
No, Tesla pretty much came back to where it was consolidating during the pre-market after wild moves both up and down.
Look at that, the interaction it's still having with the 20-day SMA. Let's see, it's above it right now, but we're pulling off of the high that we made this morning around 3:30, and we're coming back down. I'm going to be watching. I would be watching for a close where this closes around the 20. If it closes above, might see some better price action tomorrow to the upside. If it doesn't, you might lose 525. CYM is still trying. Oh yeah, 23.45 is the current high. Trying to get up there and take that out. There's a bit of a seller at 23.40 that they have to deal with, and they are hitting it right now. And they just took it. There it is. 23.77 is the new high. That could be very, very true as well, Amanda. We could have low volume tomorrow taking us into the weekend.
But if we have a wild PCE print, do you think we're going to have low volume? It's like what?
The PCE, I think, is only going to affect what happens in the morning. It could be a boring second half of the day.
Okay. I would say if we did not have that print, I would be 100% with Amanda. But I think that print gives us a little bit of potential volatility tomorrow.
Nice trade, Super Scam.
Yeah, you got 5.13 in points there. Oh, dude.
You are fake news.
Shoot, that was the wrong one.
That was the wrong one for sure.
Damn it, Super Scam. I'm sorry, dude. Oh, man. Laugh with me, man. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to give you a register ring there. I'll give you another one just for the great trade.
Oh, Mama Bear, don't do that. Don't say I should have stated, I should have done this, I should have done that. You traded what you traded. You got the money. I don't want anybody to have regrets about something that's going higher. You traded according to your plan. You got that money. Could have you had opportunities to pull back, sure, but and buy it, but yeah, but your trade worked.
Oh God.
Don't beat yourself up over something that you're not doing. You didn't do. It's sure it's still going right now, but you made money. You traded this great. And it's still ripping here, even though other folks are getting out of this. I think that's just kind of the move because this is getting really extended now. Don't ever, beat yourself up. I should have stayed in this. I should have done this. I should have done that. You can say that once, realize that we can't change the past, and then move on and let's find the next trade. That's the way to do it.
Well said.
Okay. You're being funny. All right, then I'm laughing then.
Don't should on yourself. Oh my God, big of bees.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Don't should on yourself.
I'm not going to should on anybody's
God,
trades.
is that good?
I'm not going to should on anybody's trades or anything like that. BBAI, that's another one that we could have should have, but I'm not going to go there. That one's still ripping up to 558 is the high now. Still looking for that 590. Super Scam has got to stop at 23.45, so he's going to be ending that trade positive regardless.
Okay. SMCI, you guys have been, we've got 5 minutes left here. You folks have mentioned SMCI a number of times. I haven't gone to it. I'm sorry. Does appear like we have kind of a bullish formation here. Nice little pop higher. Thanks for that. I should myself all the time. You and me both. You and me both, Steve D. You and me both. Joe here. And is SMCI just riding the chip wave, or is there more to it? I only saw somewhat negative news lately specific to it. So this is the riding the NVIDIA chip wave, right? Like the thought here was that they bought a bunch of their NVIDIA chips for their racks, and the question was whether or not they were actually paying them. Did I get that right there, 13? Because they had a whole bunch of accounting issues that we were wondering, well, is NVIDIA's accounts receivable not able to collect from SMCI?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look like that's a problem. They've had multiple earnings since then where they look like they're doing fine. I mean, maybe that changes if they're just, doing some funky accounting there.
Maybe they're just hiding it all over again. It could be. I don't know. I don't trust the management at SMCI, but that doesn't mean we can't trade the stock. It does have a golden cross that happened back in June 16th to 17th. It is coming up to it is at the 500-day SMA now. So this has been a site of rejection in the past. It was a site of rejection back in last month on the 16th. But this next visit here looks a lot more bullish, so we could push through it. The next area of resistance that I see here on this is from a consolidation channel that I've had since last year. That puts the next resistance at just above $50. So I think really important to watch what happens at 50.
Okay. SMCI. John mentioning ONDS popped here. So ONDS, dude, let me tell you something. Yesterday, once again, we actually had some pretty good news. At least it read pretty well. No numbers in there. ONDS ended up going red on the news, which just drives me insane. Now today, pretty good. The big thing to keep in mind here is this trend line. Right? As long as this stock doesn't break down, there's going to be a decision point coming up here with the trend line. And I think a break of this trend line to the upside resolves 2+ on ONDS. Now, that's just looking at the chart here. This is still a long-term hold. I've already sold some, so we're able to book some gains. So I can be a little bit more patient here with this, but that's what's going on here. Also, I never really talk about this stock because I don't want someone getting locked into some low float piece of junk that ends up not working in the future. But we did have some news on another long-term small cap hold that is high risk. Don't buy this just because I did. But Ideal Power here, ticker IPWR. This is one I've been holding for a long time. I think that this is going to be a possible buyout at some point in the future. I think this can absolutely ramp given our move to electric cars and everything else here. Research their B-TRAN device. Research their B-TRAN converter if you're interested in this. Ideal Power secures a new order from the 5th global tier 1 automotive supplier here. I think that this B-TRAN converter is going to be in every car and every piece of electronic equipment within the next 10 years because it does such a great job of mitigating heat, which is something that we're going to need to do. I've been holding this stock for about 1.5 years, 2 years now at this point, and it's done nothing but go down. My cost basis is in the 6 handle, so I'm underwater on this. But good piece of news here. Does look like we carved out a bottom here at 4. Just saying. We very rarely have news on this stock. We did have news here today. If you take this, if you trade this, please understand that this is one of those stocks that can go to zero. Don't yell at me if it keeps trading down. 13, we're out of time here. Any closing words for the group before we head over to the direction levered and inverse ETF webinar?
Folks, it's been a wonderful week. I am going to be gone Friday and Monday, so I will see everybody on Tuesday. I hope everybody has a great weekend. We're going to have a short week next week, so more vacation time coming up. Have a great rest of your day. Sorry I couldn't get to all the questions, but we will get back to those on Tuesday. We will have more good times then. Everybody enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, 13. Great job. As always, we will follow up with you next week. Tomorrow, join me and Kevin. We'll be having some fun here on a Friday, and I think Kevin's going to come back on Monday and help fill the void. Folks, thanks for everything. As always, stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Sending you over to the Direction webinar right now. Marcelo asking for a link. You don't need one. Stay